Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Naruto was god of Immortals and got harem? Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video. Go support and follow the TOMHUNT98 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. Let's start this video. The fields are dirty, forever stained red. The bodies lay open, bloated, maggot infested. The stench even keeps carnivores away. A bloody mist hangs over the battlefield. The shinobi world is at war for the first time. Neighbor against neighbor, friend against friend. Slaughter on an unimaginable scale. The world in utter chaos. The human race is in danger of killing itself. 9 brave shinobi step forward. These will be forever known as the founders of peace. The extraordinary power these 9 possess make the earth tremble in fear just from walking. Together, these 9 forcibly, under threat of annihilation, pull the broken and fractured countries into peace. Realizing the error of their ways and to ensure that nothing like this happens again, the countries form the throne of power is established. The throne of power is the ultimate authority on international and inter-country matters. The throne is the highest form of government. They regulate international disputes, trading lanes, border lines, and most importantly the rules of warfare and alliances and treaties. They investigate and purse war criminals, they stop genocide and civil war, they rule on successors in cages. However, it is not without limits. When dealing with inter-country matters, the throne must be invited in, or an investigation must be requested by a neighboring country. If a country is found breaking the laws set by this group, an appropriate number of the 9 will be dispatched to deal with a disobedient country in any way they see fit. The founders of peace rule with an unmerciful sword. Physical removal of a country's leader is the most used form after negotiations fail. These 9 are no ordinary people. They contain the power of angels and demons, the 9 Biju. However, these 9 are just anybody with a seal. These 9 were chosen by the Biju and work with the humans they are sealed in. Each has their own conditions and characteristics they value and only will accept one person regardless of social or economic status. At the front and most powerful is the container of the Kyuubi no Yoko. Made chairman because of the Biju's power, the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi is tasked with presiding and keeping peace within the throne, but by no means is it a dictatorship. A majority vote must come to all matters to be resolved. Each new generation of Jinchuriki is trained by the current one. Most new Jinchuriki are young from 5 to 6, but that is not always the case. Training takes 10 to 15 years to fully be able to handle each Biju's abilities and responsibilities. When a Jinchuriki is about to retire, the Inquisitors announce it and people line up to try to be the next one. Ruling from an island off the coast of the Fire Country, the throne lives in isolation. The 9 rarely come out for anything but official business. This island is called Destiny's Gateway. This island is a small island with a single, sprawling compound that houses the 9 and all support staff. This island is protected by the Immortals. These guards are ruggedly trained and picked not only for their fighting abilities, but for their loyalty and dedication. Each Immortal would be more than a challenge to a Jonin. They are the walls around the throne. In addition to the guards, there is only one port town. It is nothing more than a few buildings to house food, drinks, livestock, and other necessary items. Everywhere else around the island is sheer cliffs and jagged rocks. Chakra elimination seals are placed everywhere on the island except the compound, preventing any foreign shinobi from using jutsus and using chakra to climb the cliffs. For the throne to step in, a full investigation is launched by the Inquisitors branch. These highly intelligent ninja are well versed in local laws of each country and are sent out in teams of 4. On occasion, a Jinchuriki has accompanied the Inquisitor team, aiding in the investigation. The Inquisitors only respond directly to the throne's wishes. They are the eyes and ears of the throne. The Divine Guardians, or Tenrai Higasha, serves to protect the 9. They are handpicked and trained by the Jinchuriki they will serve. They are groups of 4 and follow the Jinchuriki everywhere in the shadows and deal with security and any need the Jinchuriki may need. After each new generation of Guardians is chosen and trained, the previous Guardians mentor them, passing on experience and tactics. They are the shield of the throne. When a Jinchuriki is chosen, a tomb is set up and any Guardians who die in service will be buried in the same tomb as the Jinchuriki they served. Should a Jinchuriki and the 4 Guardians perish all at once, another 3 other Guardians will be chosen randomly from other Jinchuriki to train the new Guardians until they are able to protect their charge. For 500 years the throne of power has stood as a humanity's watchdog, stepping in only where necessary. But not all are content with this arrangement. One night, a figure in black sneaks on a ship bound for Destiny's Gateway. He hides among the crates below deck. After hours of being cramped and something poking his ass really hard, the ship docks and he's off. He manages past the guard towers and waits patiently. He spots a passing patrol of Immortals and he follows them. They lead him back to the compound. This is where things get difficult. There is only one way in. The rest of the compound is surrounded by 20-foot-high walls, and without him able to use chakra to climb or jump over the walls, he has to think of another way in. He goes around the back, skirting around the barracks that houses the Immortals. He then sets to work. He takes branches from nearby trees and uses strips to tie them together. The painstaking process takes hours upon hours to finish. But once done, he takes his makeshift ladder and climbs the wall and hops on over. When he touches the ground, he finds he is able to use chakra once again. He climbs the elegant 3-story building to a window, where he hops on in. He finds himself in a bedroom. He hears a light snoring and he looks around. In the low light, he makes out a huge king-size canopy bed. In the bed is male and female, but very and without covers. But the male has 4 tails sticking out from under him and has red skin. Damn. I'm in Yonbi's chambers. I have to be really careful. He uses some chakra as much as he dares because the Yonbi's guardians are going to be nearby and turns invisible by bending light around him. He slowly and without making a sound makes his way to the wall to the hallway. He looks around and not sensing anybody on the other side of the wall, he phases right through it into a hallway. He looks around and decides on a direction. He walks around for what seems like hours before finding the right corridor. He glances at the door and reads the room plaque. Kyubi no Yokoemi Takeda. Right place, he muses to himself. Before he can take another step, 2 shinobi grab him and force him against a wall, away from the door. State your clearance and purpose. Speak now or lose your head. The 2 shinobi are clad in all black with war paint on their face. Several kunai holsters and shuriken pouches are seen along with scrolls on either side. Shit. Guardians. Oh well. Too bad for them, I can use chakra. His lone eye changes. The guardians look at each other before looking back into a red eye that looks almost like a pinwheel. Then it starts spinning. They look away so they won't get caught in a genjutsu, but that wasn't what this man was doing. Suddenly the space around the 2 guardians begins to twist, morph. The guardians freak out a little and move away from the man. This doesn't help. Space continues to twist and begins to draw the 2 shinobi in. Within a second both shinobi are sent off to another dimension. The man dusts himself off and opens the doors to the Kyuubi's quarters. The layout of the room is almost that of the Yonbi. The large canopy bed also has a male and female, but both under the covers. The male has very spiky red hair and the many tails can be seen moving on their own against the sheets. The man smiles to himself. Suddenly 2 other shinobi toss shuriken and kunai at the intruder. It has the effect of waking up the man and women in the bed. Seeing the intruder, the man gets out of bed and begins to morph. His skin sprouts red fur and he gets on all 4s. His face elongates and soon, the Kyuubi no Yoko stands before him. It's good to see the fur ball actually doing something for a change. The man then activates his eye and it begins to spin. Kyuubi doesn't look away, trying to beat the man at his own game, or at least distract him for long enough for his guardians to take him out. Said guardians are going through hand signs. Near the end, the man in black turns quickly and sucks both guardians into separate dimensions. Time to sleep in Kyuubi. Kyuubi charges, tails whipping around. The woman had used this time to get decent and joined the Kyuubi in battle. The man smiles. With his eyes spinning wildly, he looks Kyuubi right in the eyes. Kyuubi's steps falter and poof out of existence, forced back into the seal of his Jinchuriki. The woman also falters, forced to deal with the backlash from the seal. The man teleports behind her and takes one shot to the back of her neck and knocks her out cold. He smiles and barely contains his glee. The hardest part of his plan is finished. He picks up the girl and warps off of Destiny's Gateway. Forest of Fire Country 5 AM. The man appears and unceremoniously drops the woman, rousing her from her sleep. He tries to get up but finds her chakra restrained. "Who are you?" she demands. "Oh. So demanding. I don't think you are in a position to demand anything." She sends daggers through her glare. "You realize who I am?" The man only nods. She smirks and reaches into herself to the seal and draws on Kyuubi's chakra. Or at least that's what should have happened. She tries again to the same effect. "What did you do to me?" she roars at him. He shrugs. "Oh, I put a seal on top of your seal. Kyuubi won't be coming out to play anytime soon." A string of curses issued from her mouth. He lets her continue her verbal abuse for a while. He finally loses his patience and hoists her up by her neck. "Shut up, you bitch," he snarls. She gives him a confident smirk. "You won't kill me. You need me alive. The throne can only offer ransom if I am indeed alive." The grip on her throat tightens. "And what makes you think that I'm after ransom?" Her eyes go wide. It was never about her, more of what she carries. "That's right. I'm after Kyuubi. And you don't need to be alive for that. In fact, you need to be dead." He snaps her neck and he drops her. She slumps on the ground, dying, the electrical pulses from her brain telling her heart stops. After half a minute, she finally dies. Then her stomach begins to glow red. It grows brighter and brighter until it flashes. When the light goes down, the Kyuubi no Yoko is released. "You insolent insect. What have you done?" he roars at the mysterious man. "I need your power, so I will have it." Kyuubi roars in laughter. "You think just anybody can seal a biju inside someone must be the most powerful of the 9. You humans amuse me to no end." Kyuubi shakes his head from side to side in amusement. The man's face sets. Who said anything about sealing? This catches Kyuubi's attention. When he looks back at the man, his eyes are already spinning. Kyuubi attempts to look away, but it is already too late. "I am Uchiha Madara, your new master, and you will obey me. Do you understand? I live to serve Madara-sama." Kyuubi says monotone, no emotion. "Good. We have a half day to run to our target. Then you will lay siege to the city and crush it beneath your paw." "As you wish, Madara-sama." Madara points in the direction of their target and Kyuubi immediately takes off. Madara then materializes on top of Kyuubi's head. After a few hours, Konoha is in sight. 12-year-old Naruto Uzumaki with Team 7 along with Team 11 stands in front of the Hokage and several assisting Chunin. "Come on, old man. Gives us a real mission," Naruto shouts. He is wearing his obnoxiously orange jumpsuit. His whiskered face and piercing blue eyes add to his spiky blonde hair that is held back by his Hadiate forehead protector. "Ani-chan, behave yourself." Naruto's twin sister Naomi chides. She is part of Team 11, led by Hana and Yuzuka. Naruto, being the oldest, sticks his tongue out at his younger sister. She is the same height as Naruto, but dressed in a dark blue battle kimono with red highlights that is laced with steel threads. It goes to her mid-thigh showing a lot of leg and has short sleeves and multiple holsters for kunai, shuriken, scrolls, and pouches for smoke and explosive tags. Her waist-length fire red hair, that is currently in an intricate braid, stands out with her fierce blue eyes. Overall, she has a pretty developed figure for a 12-year-old. "Don't tell me what to do." Tsurutobi rolls his eyes. Those two are quite a pair. Almost inseparable, they caused a lot of havoc in the early years of their lives. Painting the Hokage monument, placing plastic over the male urinals, putting stink bugs in the academy offices, and their personal favorite, pulling down the pants of random Uchiha. Of course, when the massacre happened and only 2 Uchiha were left in the city, Sasuke had been the only viable target. The other, Mikoto Uchiha, was spared because their mother would skin them alive if they did it to a girl and her best friend. Naruto shows some respect to the Hokage. "These missions are for a reason," Iruka reprimands. Now Iruka. "I think that these two teams have earned the right to do a C-rank mission." Naruto perks up at this. He hadn't actually expected it to work. "This will be a joint mission. Team 7 and Team 11, you are to escort one Tazuna to Waves and protect him until he finishes the bridge. Good luck." Kakashi looks to Hana, who nods and inclines her head to him. "Alright, meet Hana and I at the main gates in 30 minutes," before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Naomi immediately runs over to Naruto. "Way to go, Ani-chan. Now we can do some real ninja missions. Come on. We need to get packed. Ka-chan may be there, so we need to tell her where we are going." Naruto and Naomi race to the Namikaze compound. While the outside world didn't know of the relation between Minato and Kushina and her children, they were allowed to stay at the compound. It was easily explained that it was in Minato's will to give it to Kushina since they were such close friends and he was the last Namikaze. Naruto and Naomi knew the truth but have been forbidden to speak of it outside the compound. They race through the gate and Naruto reaches forward, but a sudden burst of speed causes his sister to touch the door a second before him. "Ha! I won, Ani-chan. That means you have to carry my stuff for a day," she shouts in victory. Naruto grumbles, but the fact that they get a real mission keeps his spirits up. They walk in the door and surprisingly find Kushina sitting on a couch with her legs tucked under her reading a book. "Oh hey guys. Who won today?" she asks, hearing the mentor and looking up from her book, revealing her violet eyes. Her hair is cascading down her left shoulder to keep it from getting trapped behind her. I did, Naomi shouts loudly. Kushina smiles and beckons them to come to her. "Well done, Naomi. Show Naruto that women are better than men," Kushina jokes. "Ha-chan," Naruto whines. She ruffles Naruto's hair with her hand. "So how did today go?" she asks. They are a little early. She had the entire week off that she enjoyed spending it with her children and helped them with their personal training. Well, Naruto yelled at the Hokage to give his team a higher ranked mission, but it worked. "My brother is a genius when it comes to getting the old man to do what he wants." Naruto looks a bit sheepish at the praise, but that quickly withers under Kushina's glare. "Naruto, I already explained why you have to do low-ranked missions. The Hokage will give you missions when he feels that you are ready for it, not before, so don't do that again. That aside, when do you leave? In about 20 minutes. Naruto inputs. Well, get packed. I'll meet you at the gates. The one who wins gets a present when they get back. She calls as they already ran up the stairs to their bedrooms. She chuckles at their antics. She purposefully pitted them competitively against one another from an early age. Competition forced growth in the fear of being outdone or getting left behind. She gets off the couch and stretches before walking out the door and starting at the gates. She is wearing a light yellow sundress with thick straps and goes down to her knees. Her red hair is tied in a tight bun at the back of her head, letting the extra flow down to her waist. She is wearing the least amount of makeup, only putting on a tick and lip gloss. She never wears any more than that unless it is a special occasion. She makes it to the gate and looks back to see two big plumes of dust coming right toward her. She holds out her hand in front of her and waits. After a good 30 seconds, two figures become visible at the front of both plumes. They take the forms of her children. They both skid to a halt and reach out to slap her hand. Her hand gets slapped and the dust overtakes them. When the dust clears, both kids are staring at Kushina, waiting for the judgment and slightly panting from all the running. You both are getting better, but this one is a tie. Both let out a groan. But that means that you both get a present when you get back. Their eyes go wide in cheer. Next time, I'll beat you now, Chan. Naomi sticks her tongue out at him. Dream on. Women are always better, right, Ka-chan? Kushina laughs at her. Of course. Now unseal your packs and let me check them. They pulled 2 scrolls each out from a pouch. One labeled weapons, the other labeled clothes. They unseal the one labeled weapons, and a huge amount of weapons poof into existence. Kushina looks over the assorted standard kunai, shuriken, and ninja wire. Naruto has his kodachi, while Naomi has a pair of black combat gloves with a strip of steel, conforming to the knuckles and the back of her hand. Also are Kushina's special-made explosive and smoke tags. These bundles of fun are 3 times more powerful than normal tags, thanks to Minato's tutelage of seals. Good. Now give your Ka-chan a hug and be safe, which they do. Kushina also bends down and gives both kids a kiss on the forehead, which Naruto quickly rubs off, lest anyone see the tick mark. Getting kissed by a girl is just gross, even if it is your mother. Wait, are you going to be here when we get back? Naruto asks before she leaves. She stops and thinks for a second. I don't know how long your mission will last. I am leaving tomorrow for another S rank, and I won't be back for a week or so. I'm sorry if you guys get home before me. I'll bring you back something. She doesn't like not being there for her children's homecoming, but when you are one of the strongest ninja in the village, you tend to get a lot of higher ranked missions. These missions kept her from personally training her children. She taught them basic control, but nothing much past that. Alright, Ka-chan. Be safe. The twins almost yell at her and hug her one more time. She honestly doesn't know what she would do without them. Being without a husband is hard enough, but without her children, she wouldn't want to survive in this world. She waves and walks off back to the Namikaze compound. Kakashi walks into view as the twins seal their weapons back into their scrolls, minus some for their holsters. Naruto eyes Kakashi as Kakashi eyes Kushina's backside as she walks away. Naruto's blood begins to boil. Naomi notices this, and when she looks to see what is Naruto so angry, her anger quickly matches Naruto's. Kakashi, still staring at the goddess of a woman, starts to feel hot under the collar. He looks and sees the twins glaring at him. He starts sweating bullets. To piss off one twin was bad. To piss off both is a death wish, as the twins are quite infamously known for their not so friendly and often injuring pranks and traps. Their message is a simple one and one delivered via glare. Don't stare at our mother like a piece of meat or you will regret it. Our mother is off limits to perverts. Kakashi nods his understanding, and the twins return to sealing their gear. Naruto keeps his kodachi, short sword with a curved edge, out, and Naomi keeps her battle gloves out. Naruto is more of a ranged fighter. His skills with a sword are barely above proficient as the only person he can get to teach him is his mother, and she isn't around much. She helps out when she can, but can only stick around for so long. He took an interest in swords from an early age, so Kushina bought him a practice sword and then a real kodachi. Once he is ready, she will get him a full-size katana. Naomi prefers to brawl. Her gloves were made specifically for her hands. The glove conforms to her chakra and hers alone, and shrinks to fit her hands, making replacements because of outgrowing them a non-issue. If someone else were to put the gloves on, the gloves would crush the hand to the point of crippling. She is one of the best with taijutsu in their graduating class, as it is her preferred method. The 3 wait at the gate for about 5 minutes before the others start to arrive. First is Sasuke, then Hana with her 3 dogs, Hiro, Hikaru, Hikaru, and Hiroki, followed by Sakura. The last 2 members, twins themselves, arrive at the same time about 10 minutes after that. Zachary and Amy Takeda. Naruto and Naomi spend a lot of time with these two. From pranks to birthday parties to help each other out in a fight, these four are very good friends. Zachary, or Zach, has short and messy jet black hair and hazel eyes. He stands 4'9" and wears an Anbu-like outfit. Amy has long blue hair, glasses, and hazel eyes to match her brother. She also has on a standard Anbu outfit but has on a short battle skirt instead of pants and stands 4'6". She has a kunai holster on the inside of her thigh and leather strapping around her other thigh. Man, your parents need to get you a new wardrobe. Amy sticks her tongue out at Naruto's comment. Well, I hope you can keep up. Sasuke says, directing the comment to Naruto and Naomi. Naruto and Naomi have the lowest overall grades in the class. Naruto has the lowest with Naomi not far ahead. With a little training Kushina did with them, she can tell her kids are smart and for a long time suspected the teachers of harsher grading and sabotaging her children, but never having any proof. Naruto and Naomi are terrible at written tests. Kushina tried to help them, but with the extremely limited amount of time with them, she couldn't help much. Naruto and Naomi tried to study together which didn't work. They tried to get private lessons, which nobody would take them. They finally tried to go to the library to get extra books, but they were denied entrance. The only thing that saved them was their chakra training. With their massive reserves, thanks to the Kyuubi, they can do almost any ninjutsu. Minato had sealed the Kyuubi's consciousness in Yin chakra in Naruto and the Kyuubi's body in Yang chakra in Naomi. Both have the same basic seal, and it allows the Bijuu chakra flow into their chakra coils, making them very large and makes deep chakra reserves. Naomi has a storage space seal for the Kyuubi's body, and Naruto has one for suppressing and protecting him from the Kyuubi's consciousness. One their mother taught them was the shadow clone. This is one of the most advanced clone techniques and allows them to exponentially increase their training hours, allowing them to control their chakra. They both performed the shadow clone during the test, stunning the examiners. They also did one elemental each, Naruto with the wind and Naomi with electricity. But those advanced, how can any examiner fail them? Whatever, Sasuke. Just be glad your pants haven't hit the ground yet. Naruto says half threatens. Sasuke goes pale. The last time they detrousered him was in the middle of the market street, named for obvious reasons, during the busiest hour. Not only had they pulled down his pants, but his underwear too. He had nightmares for weeks after that. Now guys, let's get along. This is going to be a long mission, so the better we get along, the shorter it will be. Naruto and Naomi are in no hurry to get back to the village. They have to dodge mobs and deal with glares and cutting words. Most of the villagers either overcharge them or not serve them at all. The villagers don't dare attack them with Kushina in the city, but with her out, they feel much bolder to the point where Sarutobi assigned an Anbu to them. But even some of the Anbu hated them and either helped the mob or ignored it. Whatever. Where is this guy anyways? Naomi asks. They look around and Kakashi spots a drunken old man, slowly making his way toward the group. I'm Tazuna. Let's go so I can be home. He says as he doesn't even stop to get introduced to the group. Form up. Naruto and Naomi take front. Sasuke and Amy take left. Zack and Sakura take the right. Hana and I will take the rear. Let's go. Kakashi says. Technically neither Jonin has command, but Hana lets him make the major decisions since he is much more experienced. Time skip 24 hours. The group trudges along the road, the only break in the monotony is Naruto's and Naomi's occasional immature banter or argument. This is not as it seems. A long time ago, they came up with a strategy when they were doing missions together. They act as childish as they can. This not only makes enemies underestimate them, but also makes it so people leave them alone. So they argue about anything. This current argument is if Sasuke is gay or not. He is too. Naomi hisses, but an amused look in her eyes. She can see Sasuke's face scowl and a tick mark appear above his head. He isn't. Have you seen how he looks at you? Naruto fires back, hiding a smirk. Naruto is also watching Sasuke's reaction. This has him pale and Naomi looks like she is going to throw up. Naruto has to suppress his laughter, but that doesn't stop Zack and Amy from laughing. Hana has an amused look on her face. She too had noticed. She struggles for words. He hasn't seen any interest in girls before. Look at Ino and Sakura. He doesn't even pay them a second thought. Hey. Don't drag me into this squabble. And besides, Sasuke will eventually be around and I will marry him. Sakura says. Naomi rolls her eyes. Sakura is the kind of girl that neglects her training for her appearance. Not once has she seen Sakura's hands dirty. Naruto watches Naomi go stiff. Her mouth had been open to retort but quickly closed it and indicated with her eyes at the source of her uneasiness. Naruto looks in front of the group and spots it. The puddle. Naruto can feel the Jinjutsu. He doesn't know how, but he feels it. Behind the group, Hana looks at Kakashi, who gives her a signal. The dogs move forward and form around Tizuna at Hana's instructions. Well, I think Sasuke likes you. And with that kimono you wear, you attract a lot of attention. Naruto says offhandedly, trying to make sure the people hidden by the Jinjutsu think that their cover isn't blown. This gets Naomi to glare at him, and he just smiles. As they near the puddle, she punches at him while he stands there and takes the hit. You bitch. I'll make you pay. He grabs his Kodachi and runs at her. Most of the group is not only astounded at his choice of words, but his intent to attack his sister. Naomi just sidesteps and kicks him in the side, hard. He flies off the ground and twists in the air. As his face is looking at the ground, he sees Naomi's aim is superb. He acts like he is going to brace his fall with his sword. He nears the ground and thrusts the Kodachi into the puddle. A squelching sound comes from the puddle, followed by a scream of pain. Naruto quickly withdraws the blade and flares his chakra, dispelling the illusion. He then points his bloody short sword at the second person hiding in the spider hole. The one Naruto impaled has slumped on the floor, a giant hole in his head. Put your hands in the air and stand up. Naruto orders. The man does that, and once out of the hole, Naruto has him kneel on the ground with his hands behind his head. Naomi and Kakashi join Naruto. Naomi takes his hands and ties them up with ninja wire. Nice job, Naruto. I'm going to take this one and interrogate him. Wait here. Kakashi literally drags the missing nin off into the forest. Great shot there now, Chan. Sorry about the name. Wait, that was staged? Sakura asks. Yeah. It's something we came up with. It gets people distracted enough for one of us to get close enough to attack them. Don't worry about the name. It could have been much worse, although you didn't have to kill the first one, Ani-chan. Naruto shrugs. It's not like I knew his brain was there. I just stabbed and got lucky. Naruto wipes the blade off in the grass. How can you be so cold? You just ended someone's life. Sakura practically shouts. Look, killing is a part of our way of life. Either you get used to the idea or you die. Simple as that. Naruto sheaths his Kodachi. Naruto's right, Sakura. You may not like it, but it is a part of our job. You should be prepared to kill. But that doesn't mean that you have to like killing people. In fact, you shouldn't like it. Taking a life should always be your last option, your last line of defense. Sakura nods, deep in thought about what Hana just said. I didn't enjoy plunging my sword in his brain, but the man is a missing nin. I saw the scratch on his 88. I'm not going to lose sleep over someone who follows money and not an ideal or at least a leader from a shinobi village. Naruto says, using logic to destroy any remorse he might have had. Well, since we don't know how long Kakashi will be, let's set up camp. Naomi and Zack go and get firewood. Naruto and Amy go find something to eat, and Sakura and Sasuke stay alert and guard Tizuna. We don't want any more surprises. Time skip 3 hours, approx. 3 p.m. Team 7 and 11 eat and rest. Naruto and Ami caught a few rabbits, and after skinning them, roasted them on the firewood that Naomi and Zack gathered, they feast. So, Naruto and Naomi, that was pretty impressive. When did you know those two were down there? I detected the Jinjutsu and Naruto picked up on it. The routine we had practiced and developed last week. How did you know there was a Jinjutsu? Sakura asks. Naruto and Naomi look at each other and both shrug. We don't know. We both have the ability to detect Jinjutsu, but now Chan is better at it than me. I detected it a second or two after she did. They do know, but are not willing to share that it comes from having Biju chakra. Hana nods. After about a half hour of mostly Naomi and Amy chatting about girl things, Hana secretly puts a Jinjutsu on herself. It makes the clan paint on her face appear a few shades darker and shorter. No reaction from Naruto or Naomi. Just then Kakashi walks into the campsite. He looks at Tizuna. I think you have some explaining to do and you will start now. Boring conversation while violins play a sad song in the background. So the vote is 5-1 to continue. So put the fire out and move out. Same formation as before. Kakashi orders. Naruto puts out the fire and the rest get their packs on. Naruto and Naomi take the front. As they are about to set off, Naruto looks back to Hana. You can drop the Jinjutsu. Naomi and I knew the second you put it on about a half hour after telling you about our ability. Hana is a bit surprised. She didn't think they noticed. Time skip 1 hour. Get down. Kakashi yells. Everyone instantly hits the ground but Naruto and Naomi. A giant meat cleaver goes right through them, spraying blood everywhere, and gets stuck in a tree. Their lifeless bodies hit the ground. Naruto. Naomi. Several of the group shouts. Well, I got a few brats. Should make my job easier. Says a man who appears on the hilt of his meat cleaver. I know that isn't the name, but that is what it looks like. Look up a picture of Zabuza if needed. Not putting in his description in. Lamachi Zabuza. A-class missing nin of Kurigakure. The cashier, should I say Sharingan Kakashi, the copy ninja. An honor to meet you in person. Head back. Guard Tazuna and do not engage him. This guy is on an entirely different level. Hana and I will deal with him. The remaining genin form a protective ring around Tazuna, kunai in hand. And fight up to Kakashi getting caught in the water prison. Surum no Jutsu. Water prison technique. Kakashi is caught in the bubble of highly volatile water. Shit. Hana curses. Gatsuka. Fang passing Fang. Hana and her 3 dogs, to look like her, all start spinning and drilling towards Zabuza so fast that it leaves an after image. Zabuza smirks and does some one-handed signs. Sujin Heki. Water release. Water encampment wall. A giant wall of water erupts out of the lake around Zabuza. Hana, Hiro, Hikaru and Hiroki all hit the massive wall and bounce off it. They stop spinning and jump back, walking on the water. The wall falls back into the lake. Suddenly Hana and her dogs find themselves trapped in water prisons by water clones that rise out of the water. Zabuza laughs that such a simple plan had worked. Run. Get out of here and take Tazuna with you. Kakashi shouts before the bubble is filled with water, drowning him. Dawn. Repchim. Wind release. Violent wind palm. The violent gale comes out from the brush, almost knocking over the original Zabuza and killing all 3 of his water clones at the same time. Anjikiha. Lightning release. Wave of inspiration. A huge wave of electricity shoots out of a nearby tree, heading straight for Zabuza. Shit. As he jumps away, forcing him to lose contact with his water prison, freeing Kakashi. Show yourselves so I can return the favor. Zabuza shouts. Kakashi appears right in front of him. Your opponent is me. And an ending. The hunter nin leaves in with a splash. Kakashi walks back to the shore, breathing very hard. He places his Hadiate back over his Sharingan, deactivating it. Naruto and Naomi come out. He shouts. Out of some bushes comes Naruto, and from a tree comes Naomi. Naomi gets rushed by Amy. Oh my god. I thought you and Naruto were dead. Naomi laughs and hugs her back. Nope. A giant meat cleaver is slow and heavy. Ani-chan and I had plenty of time to move and get away. Hana comes over with her 3 dogs. She and the group look back to Naruto's and Naomi's corpses. They are still lying on the ground in a pool of their own blood. You mind explaining that? Asks Hana, pointing to the bodies. Well, now Chan and I have been practicing with Cage Bunshin for years now. We discovered that the clone can act just like us if enough chakra is used, but it costs more than twice the amount than the original Cage Bunshin. It can bleed and die just like us, but the difference between ours and the regular Kagebunshin is that ours continually drain chakra from us to keep it there and to produce things like blood and gases to not dispel if hurt. Our reserves are so large that we don't even feel the drain. To make his point, Naruto and Naomi cut off the chakra and their bodies disappeared in a puff of smoke. All the blood that is spilled out is also gone. See? We're completely fine. We knew something wasn't right when Zack found that white rabbit and created a clone to follow us in the brushes, then we used Kawarimi, substitution, with our clones. Kakashi and Hana are impressed. Who knew that the 2 lowest scores of this year's genin were this good? Just goes to show that written tests aren't always right. Then again, you do have to look at who raised them. That's good. Tazuna, lead the way to your house, Kakashi says before collapsing due to chakra exhaustion. He is caught by 2 of Hana's dogs. Naruto and Naomi had given up a while ago in trying to tell the difference. Hiro and Hikaru carry Kakashi. Sasuke and Zack take the front. Naomi and Amy take the left. Naruto and Sakura take the right. Move out. Hana orders. They walk for about a half hour before Hana realizes something. Naruto, Naomi. If you were alive the whole time and had jutsus like that, why did you wait to use them? Hana asks. Naruto and Naomi look at each other before smiling. We waited to make Kakashi use up his chakra in the fight. This is his punishment for ogling our mother and staring at her ass. He should be out of commission for a few days and it will be very painful. Naruto says without a trace of remorse. Hana gets a chill down her spine. Those 2 are malicious and completely unforgiving. Don't get on their bad side. Time skip 1 week. Soon after arriving at Tazuna's house, Kakashi awoke. Hana then told the 2 teams that Zabuza is still alive and they will face him again. Being a medic nin, she can tell the difference between fake death and actual death. So the whole week Hana takes her dogs and guards Tazuna at the bridge while Kakashi hobbles around to train them. Naruto and Naomi each learn several new affinity, while the others learn chakra control by climbing trees, as Naomi and Naruto had already done and mastered that exercise. Sasuke is green with envy and demands Naomi to give him some tips, to which she just sticks out her tongue and walks off to train with Naruto. They met Inari, who Naomi and Naruto think is nothing but a spoiled brat. After a few interruptions, Naruto had had enough and told him off, using a fraction of his and Naomi's experience to open the little brat's eyes. After that Naruto ran off, followed by a barely restrained Naomi. She too had come close to losing her temper. They both stayed up late, training vigorously, working off their anger. Eventually Naomi calls it quits and watches Naruto work himself into unconsciousness. She muttered about stupid brothers to herself as she carried Naruto back to the house. It was late at night so she just put him on her bed and she took the floor. She roomed alone since Kakashi and Naruto roomed together and Amy and Hana roomed together. Hana is still afraid of Naomi's brutal pranks. Naruto now wakes in an unfamiliar room. The decor matches that of Tezuna's house, but he doesn't recognize the room. He sits up and looks around the room and spots a ceiling scroll that has clothing in it written in Naomi's handwriting. He recalls the previous night and pushes himself so hard to forget the goal of that little kid. Hopefully his words had some effect on him. Now-chan must have carried me here last night and then slept on the floor. She even removed my shoes. I really have to thank her when I see her. He opens the door and pads his way to the male's room. On the way there, he looks over the railing into the kitchen and doesn't like what he sees. Two men in badly crafted armor, obviously Gato's thugs, pointing a low-quality sword at Tsunami. Naruto grabs a kunai and very carefully creeps down the wooden stairs, hoping they won't creak and alert them to his presence. One seems to be threatening Tsunami, while the other one holds an Ari, a sword to his throat. Naruto grabs a second kunai from a holster and sneaks up behind the one holding an Ari. Tsunami's eyes go wide when she sees Naruto and knows what he is about to do. She turns away quickly and covers her ears, confusing the two. Naruto uses this confusion to stab the one holding an Ari at the base of the spine, causing him to go limp and die within seconds. The second thug, now alerted to Naruto's presence, tries to stab and slice at Naruto with his sword. Naruto parries the sword strike with his extra kunai and spins around and connects a heel kick to the back of the thug's neck, knocking him out. Naruto looks over to Tsunami and Inari. Inari is staring at the blood pooling on the floor from the hole in the first thug's neck. Tsunami grabs her son and pulls him away from the body and blood. "Thank you, Naruto." She thanks him. Naruto, however, is not there. He sprints upstairs and grabs his shoes and weapons scroll. He runs back downstairs and starts to put on his shoes. "Sorry. I can't stay. They came here to kidnap you, which means that Zabuza is at the bridge now, fighting my comrades and sister. Take Inari and go to a friend's house in case more come looking for you. Got to go," he says before bolting out of the house at full speed. Time skip 10 minutes, bridge. Things aren't going well. Kakashi is fighting Zabuza and has several large gashes from the meat cleaver. Hana is fighting two A-class missing nins, also from Kiri, at the same time and getting tired along with her three companions. Sasuke and Naomi are fighting the hunter nin. Sakura, Zack and Amy are guarding Tezuna in case someone breaks through. Sasuke looks like a porcupine. He is covered by dozens of dot. He is losing blood quickly and is faltering. Naomi is holding on better, but not winning. Even with her ninjutsu and massive reserves, the hunter nin, identified as Hakuyuki, is way faster, evading her strikes and lightning dot. Naruto looks on, deciding which battle to help out in. His instincts and loyalty tell him to help out with his sister, but he schools that quickly and analyses who the most needs help minus Kakashi. It's time to end this, Naruto hears Haku say in a surprising feminine voice. Nakamheimshm. Demonic ice crystal mirrors. Large mirrors made of ice surround Sasuke. Naomi, who got out of the dome of ice at the last second, looks on and tries to break the mirrors, but to no effect. Sensetsu Tsushima. 1,000 flying water needles of death. 1,000 made of water surround Sasuke in all directions and then turn to ice. Damn, I'm out of chakra. There is no way I can dodge all of them and I can't block it. Goodbye, Haku says without emotion. The ice Senbin hurtle themselves at Sasuke at incredible speeds. Sasuke looks around for any options and lays his eyes on Naomi, who is still trying to break a mirror. The quick puff of smoke and Naomi finds herself in the middle of a hail of ice Senbin. She lets out a cry of pain before falling to the ground. Hundreds of Senbin pierce her skin. The battle stops. Even Zabuza and his two accomplices stop at the scream. The mist had thinned and allowed the entire ground to see what just happened. The Konoha shinobi's eyes are all huge in surprise and then change to disgust. The moment Sasuke had laid eyes on Naomi, Naruto's breathing stopped. He knew what Sasuke was going to do, but Naruto was too far away to do anything about it. When Naomi screamed, Naruto's heart stopped. His mind shuts down. Before he knows it, he is kneeling down next to Naomi. He grabs her and with a burst of chakra and destroys all the Senbin in her body. Hot tears trail down his face as he hugs the limp form of his sister to him. The groups look on this scene with sadness. Most of the Konoha are still in shock. Then he said it. "Dumb bitch. She deserved it. At least she gave her life so I could live." The crowd hears this and sadness turns to anger. Then they feel a massive killing intent come from Naruto. It is so much that the boards under Naruto start to splinter and break. A red cloak of chakra envelops him, suddenly an explosion of chakra and dust. It is so powerful that the most of the genin pass out along with Tazuna. When the dust settles, everyone is shocked. Naruto is not only coated in chakra, giving him a fox-like appearance, but he has sprouted not one but 3 tails of chakra. The bridge itself is in shambles. The explosion ripped up most of the planks and damaged some of the stone pillars. Destiny's Gateway. The Hachibi Jinchuriki is doing paperwork, bane of every living being's existence. For 12 years he has been doing Kyuubi's job as well as his own. Before the Kyuubi was kidnapped, the Hachibi, or the giant ox, was in charge of the island's defenses. Training and hand-picking the immortals, setting up the chakra elimination seals, and making up the patrol schedules and routes. Now he has to do both jobs, which leave him and his host very little free time. The pair of small and soft hands touches the Jinchuriki's shoulder and starts to rub out the kinks. The Jinchuriki turns to mush. There Hiyori-kun, hi Ori. Let me help you out," says a feminine voice behind him. Hiyori Wazoski, Jinchuriki of the giant ox, relaxes into the hands of his second mate, Natsumi. Then he feels it. A huge wave of chakra, malevolent and dark. His eyes go wide. There has been only one time in his life that he has felt that chakra signature, and that was 12 years ago when Kyuubi was kidnapped. "Sorry dear, that is going to have to wait. Tell the other 7 that we have an emergency meeting now," he shouts to one of his guardians. Land of Waves battle for the bridge. "Shit. I have to stop him," shouts Kakashi. He gets up and rushes off to get to Naruto when his path is blocked by Zabuza. "What the are you doing?" yells Kakashi. "I don't know what that boy is doing, but if he destroys the bridge more then I get extra money. I can't let you interfere. Are you nuts? He could kill all of us if I don't stop him." Zabuza shrugs. "We all have to die sometime." Zabuza launches himself at Kakashi. Across the bridge, Naruto lays the body of Naomi on the side of the bridge, to which Hana now looking at. Haku's mirrors had shattered from the chakra explosion. Then Naruto turns his gaze on Sasuke, who by some miracle is still conscious. Naruto's eyes are deep red with an elongated pupil. His whiskers are much more pronounced, and his nails and canines are grown to incredible lengths. Naruto lets out a mighty blood-curdling roar and charges Sasuke. In the blink of an eye, he is upon him and using all the strength he has, proceeds to beat Sasuke, not caring if he dies, just making him suffer. The assault continues long after Sasuke loses consciousness. The two that Hana fought look on in horror. They look to each other and then to the person they had just fought and grin. They creep on her while she is still looking over Naomi and raise their swords. Naruto out of the corner of his eyes sees this and thinks they are going after Naomi's body. Moving faster than anyone can even begin to comprehend, Naruto slices both with his claws, using chakra to extend the strikes to go all the way through them. The two bodies erupt in a shower of blood and gore, coating Hana, Naruto, and Naomi. Hana immediately throws up. Naruto then turns his attention to the other Kiri ninja. He is about to take Haki apart when Hana's voice reaches out to him. "Naruto. Naruto, Naomi's alive. None of the senbon pierced anything vital. It just put her into a dead-like state. She is fine, Naruto. Just calm down and we can go back to Tsunami's house and take care of her." Naruto's brain is in a battle. The chakra that is surrounding him wishes for more blood, but Naruto is fighting that with every fiber of his being, knowing that his friends and teachers and even Naomi could get caught up in the blood rage. Ana sees that the red chakra slowly recede into Naruto's body. Once the chakra is gone, Naruto turns around and gives Hana a smile before passing out. He is caught by one of Hana's dogs before he hits the ground. Naruto's Mindscape. Oomph of more minutes. Drip 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 drip. What is that infernal noise? Amy-chan, turn that off please. Amy-chan. Amy-chan. A confused voice booms. A red eye cracks open. What the where the hell am I? Kyuubi asks. He looks around. He is laying in a few inches deep water, just enough to annoy him. He is behind a monstrous golden gate. He behind him and sees only the back of his cell. Where is Amy what the I'm a female? Kyuubi exclaims after examining himself, well herself now, and finds a very important male organ missing. The most recent memories surface. The Kyuubi reviews his memories, albeit with a bit of impatience to find out exactly why he had changed genders. The Jinjutsu, his body following Madara's commands, hordes of Konoha shinobi being killed with just a flick of his tails. Buildings, trees, humans. Everything was crumbled. The last thing he recalls is Shinigami-sama coming down behind a blonde-haired man, and the rest was blank before he awoke just now. That's right. Amy-chan is dead. This must be my new host and must be a male. Might as well learn about this host of mine while I'm stuck here. The female Kyuubi says with sadness over the loss of Amy. She reviews his memories for the next few days. Time skip 3 days. Naruto has a bright light in his eyes. He tries to fight off the light, but it is no use. His brain is now active and he opens his eyes. He is lying in a bed and looking up at a plain ceiling. He tries to sit up, but his body aches all over, like he just got run over by a bus. He briefly wonders what a bus is before deciding he doesn't care. He turns his head to the side and sees a tide of red hair. He knows that hair anywhere. Naomi had fallen asleep watching him in the chair. He grins and is very relieved that she is alive and looking not the worse. He looks more carefully and spots several tear streaks on her cheeks and that her neck is at a very weird angle. Despite the pain, he gets up, ignoring the massive pain in his legs and the fact that he has no shirt on. He picks her up and places her in the bed, giving her the pillow, before climbing over her and curling up under the blankets, facing away from her, before drifting off to sleep again. Naruto's Mindscape. Damn, this kid has had it rough. Kyuubi has been reviewing his 12 years of existence. She watched from his earliest memories, deciding that it would be best to get a complete picture. Kyuubi starts reviewing Naruto's more recent memories. She watches the scene unfold on the bridge. That bastard Uchiha. I'll kill every one of them myself. She continues to watch and watches Naruto draw on her chakra. So that's what awakened me. Damn, I'm sure glad he did. Who knows how long I would have slept. Oh shit, that was awesome. She just watched Naruto slice and dice the two missing nin and the shower of gore. I think I will keep this memory from him. No sense in traumatizing the poor kid. I can't wait to meet him so we can get back to the throne. I'm skipped 3 hours. Naomi wakes quietly and slowly. She feels so warm. Something is providing warmth like she can't believe. Slowly her brain starts up and she realizes that she isn't in the same position that she fell asleep at. Her brain cranks to full throttle and her eyes fly open. She sees that she is on a bed and curled against a warm back, trying to get as much heat as possible. She raises her head and sees a mess of blonde hair that can only belong to her brother, without a pillow, curled up facing away from her. She puts 2 and 2 together. He suddenly stirs and his eyes open. He turns over and come face to face with her. Ani-chan. She shouts and wraps him up in a massive hug, not really realizing their position and the fact that she is pushing her ass into his dot. Ouch. Damn Naomi. Do you mind letting go? I'm still very sore and I don't have a shirt on. She instantly gets up and scrabbles off the bed. She is suddenly at a loss for words. Ani-chan, she starts but doesn't finish, trailing off. Thank you. Naruto says. She stares at him blankly. Huh? I said thank you. You carried me in last night and let me sleep in your bed while you took the floor. You even took off my shoes. So thank you now, Chan. She is at a loss for words. She didn't think that he had noticed, but they hadn't talked. She decides on a single subject to talk about first. How are you now, Chan? Last I saw of you, you were passed out on the bridge. She bites her lip, not knowing how to break it to him. Ani-chan. How long do you think you were asleep? She asks. I don't know. Probably my normal 6 to 7 hours. Why? Ani-chan, you've been asleep for 3 days. What? After what happened, I'm surprised you woke inside a week after what Hana-sensei told me. I'm completely fine. Thanks to the Kyuubi's chakra, I had no injuries after a half hour and I was awake a few hours after the battle ended. Naruto looks at her with a confused look. What happened? You don't remember? Naruto shakes his head. Well, do you remember me getting hurt? Naruto does, and when he relives he is seeing red again. Calm down, Ani-chan. I'm fine, as you can see. She moves forward and puts a hand on his shoulder. But after I passed out, you apparently went on a rampage with the Kyuubi's chakra and killed 2 missing nin and almost killed Sasuke. She doesn't mention the shower of blood and organs. You were covered in chakra burns, your coils were completely gone, fried because of the Biju chakra. And thank you. She looks away sheepishly. Naruto is confused and voices it. Well, there is thinking of me when I would have gotten a huge neck cramp, and then there is the fact that you lost it when you thought I was dead. Another confused look. You cared about me enough to lose control of your anger. You were distraught enough over losing me that you lashed out at the one responsible, even if he was from the same village. So I'm saying thanks for caring about me, she says in a chipper voice. Naruto grins at her. No problem now, Chan. We're family and I'd do anything for you or Ka-chan. He gets a whiff of himself. Man, I need a shower and a change of clothes, and I'm hungry too. Naomi laughs at the number of problems he has. Why don't you go downstairs and get some food and then take a shower? Naruto nods. Sounds like a good plan now, Chan. Naruto tries to get up, but to no avail. Damn, one more problem. Hey now, Chan, can you help me go downstairs? I'll get someone else to help me wash. Naomi giggle. I don't mind, we are family after all. I'll try not to pass out at your stench. She teases. It actually wasn't that bad. You're such a pal now, Chan, Naruto says with sarcasm. Naruto puts an arm over Naomi's shoulders and she lifts Naruto off the bed. His feet touch the floor and he semi-walks with her, but mostly it is Naomi dragging Naruto down the stairs to the dining room. "Naruto, you're awake," a voice says. Naomi stops to see Hana and Sakura sitting in the living room. Hana gets up and walks over to Naruto and starts giving him a checkup. "Hey Hana-san, Sakura-chan." "Hey," was the quiet response from Sakura. Naruto gives Hana a questioning look. During his time at the academy and on Team 7, he has never known her to be so quiet and reserved. She has been that way since the bridge. "I don't know if it was you or Sasuke, but that girl has changed." Hana finishes up the checkup. "You're doing okay. Your coils are mostly regrown, a day or so and you will be completely fine. I'm surprised you're awake after having one's chakra coils completely fried and needing to grow ones from scratch. Most people would die." Naruto grins. "I've always been a fast healer. I'm glad to have this chit-chat, but believe it or not, but Ani-chan isn't the lightest person in the world," Naomi says with a strained voice. "Oh, sorry. Naruto, you must be hungry. I'll have Tsunami-san make you something," Hana says as Naomi half drags Naruto to the dining room. As they round the corner, Naruto gets sight of Sasuke. His shirt is off, allowing full view of his injuries. His left arm in a cast and sling, his midsection is wrapped heavily, probably from some broken ribs, his right knee is also in a cast. Sasuke's face is still black and blue, several cuts on his and several missing teeth. Sasuke sees Naruto being dragged and smirks, but pales soon after as he feels the Kai come off Naruto in waves. Naruto's sight goes red and the Kyuubi's chakra begins to leak out. The Kai makes the pictures on the wall move and slam repeatedly into the wall on which they hang. "Stop it Naruto," Naomi commands. Naruto stops immediately. Naomi doesn't use his name often when talking to him, but when she does, she means business. Naomi drags Naruto out into the living room and slowly sets Naruto down on the couch. "He isn't worth it. You already beat him to a bloody pulp. He knows that you can beat his ass, so just leave it alone." Tsunami arrives with Naruto's food. Fried bacon, scrambled eggs with melted cheese, and 2 biscuits with gravy. Naruto digs in hungrily. Tsunami looks unhappily that her savoir is now eating with gusto. Naomi elbows him in the side, making him look up. "Oh, thank you very much Tsunami-san. It is delicious," Naruto says before diving back into his plate. Tsunami smiles and walks off to the kitchen to finish whatever she was doing before after a muttering anytime. Once finished, Naruto leans back and lets out a groan, his stomach completely full. "That was amazing. I wish Ka-chan would make us breakfast when she is home like that." "Kami," Naomi shakes her head. "I'll help out. Besides, this is good blackmail material for later." Naomi, after a considerable effort, gets Naruto up the stairs. She sets him down on the bed and he crawls under the blankets. Naomi then closes the blinds and starts to exit the room. "Thanks now-chan. Good night." He realizes that it is about 4 in the afternoon, but he knows that he won't wake up at least until tomorrow. "Good night Ani-chan. Pleasant dreams." Naruto finds himself in the dirtiest place he has ever seen. Pieces of litter and human and animal waste pile around his feet. Even the water is black. He puts his sleeve over his nose to keep from passing out from the stench. Deciding to follow the water to its source since he has nothing better to do, he gets along the side of the wall and walks. Eventually he comes along a fork. The primary source of water goes off to the side and has all the nasty water and filth in it. The other way has a small stream that is clear and doesn't smell or have any discoloring and no trash. He follows this around and feels a breeze. What the hell? Naruto speeds up. He comes around the corner and sees an enormous gate. He can see something moving in the darkness of the cage, but can't make anything out. He moves closer. "Welcome boy." A voice booms out from the cage. "Who are you?" Naruto shouts. "Oh my, where are my manners? Maybe this will help." The Kyuubi steps into the light, all 9 tails swing. "Kyuubi?" Naruto falls flat on his ass and looks up at the mighty fox. "You were expecting someone else. Why are you backing up?" Naruto keeps backing away from the cage. "Oh, well I guess this form can be a little bit intimidating. Here, this may help." Kyuubi disappears in a huge cloud of smoke. When the cloud dissipates, Naruto finds himself face to face with someone who can give his mother a run for her money and beauty and sheer amounts of Y rolling off of her in waves. Naruto is stunned, shocked, flabbergasted, and any other word that fits. The only thing he can do is just stare dumbly. She stands 5'8", creamy white skin, and a very shapely figure. Fierce and blazing red eyes stand out from her gleaming skin, contrasting yet adding to it. He can only guess at her bust size as he has no experience in that field, but he puts it around a D-cup range. Her body is very lean, very little fat. He can see powerful muscles just under the skin of her arms, giving hints to her real strength. Her hair is blazing red and doesn't know what it wants to do. The front half, back to her ears, is curly, wrapping around itself, but the back half is left loose like a waterfall, stopping just above her ankles. She wears a very tight and form-fitting kimono that is slightly see-through and stops right below her hips, just enough to make him wonder if she is wearing underwear or not. Naruto continues to stare. "What? Do I have something on my face?" Kyuubi says. She runs her manicured nails over her face in an attempt to get the imaginary particle off her face. She stops when he doesn't say anything or even breathe for all she can tell. "Oh, Narukoi. Come over here please," she says, practically purrs seductively. When Naruto continues to sit there, she loses her patience. "Hey Gaki. Stop ogling me and get your ass over here." She also hits the bars, making them reverberate and send shockwaves through the ground, breaking Naruto out of his self-induced coma. Naruto briefly just how physically strong she really is before deciding the only way to really test that would be to use himself, and he has no wish to be someone's rag doll. He approaches the gate hesitantly and stops about a foot away from the golden bars. He now notices for the first time the bars are held shut by just a scrap of paper that looks like he can just rip it off. I honestly don't think there are words for how unexpected this is. Now Chan is going to get a kick out of this later. Kyuubi giggles. "That good and all, but we have a lot to talk about. First of all, you probably figured this out by now, but this is your Mindscape. A place where you can discover things you didn't even know about yourself. So if this is my mind, why is it a sewer?" Naruto asks. "Why, my dear Naruto, that is because you have a very dirty mind." The joke is not lost on him. Even from here he can still smell the stench. Haha. Very funny. So can I change it? I don't like the thought of my brain being a drain for waste. Kyuubi nods. "This is your mind. You can make it look like whatever you want to. Hell, you could make it a dungeon and have several torture devices. So I just will it to change and it will." She nods. "You know, you're not what I expected. I thought I would have to battle you constantly for control of my mind." Kyuubi lets out a chuckle. "Add to that I'm a woman, right? That throws some of my hosts for a loop. I've only had one host that wasn't surprised, and that was my first one. Would you like me to change it, since you're the one going to be living here?" Kyuubi just gives a very enthusiastic nod. Naruto then thinks of an appropriate setting. He gets one after about 10 minutes of trying to imagine something the Kyuubi would like. The scene around them starts to melt like wax, pooling itself on the ground, then disappears. It leaves just Kyuubi and Naruto in nothing but black. No sound, no air, no substance. They just exist. Naruto tries to speak, but his voice is very muffled and contorted. Kyuubi sees his mouth moving with no sound and finds it hilarious. She bursts into laughter. Naruto is never one to like being laughed at. He had enough of that during the academy when he would fail a test. He wishes he had something to make her stop laughing and wishes he has a bucket of water. Suddenly one pops into existence over Kyuubi's head. She notices this and stops laughing to glare at him. She mouths at him. "Don't you dare. I'll keep you here until you are old and gray." Naruto smiles. "Don't laugh and you won't get wet," he mouths back. Knowing that she is going to lose this fight, it is his mind after all. She holds up her hands in surrender. He then wishes the water and the bucket to go away and it does. This actual helps him figure out how to construct the environment. Kyuubi notices that he now knows the trick and she sees the darkness slowly filling in. She of course knew the trick. He has been in so many different mindscapes that she has lost count over the centuries. Over the next few minutes, she sees the fruit of Naruto's imagination. She is standing in a large room with very soft carpets. She looks around and finds a living room. Fully furnished with couches, side tables, and lamps, and it even has a fireplace that is already lit. The walls are light blue, and the carpets are a navy blue. The room has a high ceiling with lights in the top. She then takes notice of herself. She was curious about how the seal would prevent her from attacking Naruto or escaping, but that was answered as she feels something crawling on her wrists and ankles. She looks at them and sees small strips of paper with seal written all over each band. "I thought about a choker, but seemed too much like a leash. I like this better. You can't remove them, tear them, and they won't dissolve when wet like normal paper, nor will the ink blotch. When you change into your fox form, it will enlarge with you and stare apt around your paws." Kyuubi nods her understanding. She also likes this way more than a collar. "So what was it that you wanted to talk to me about? Can I have it to her first? It is a long conversation so we will need to be comfortable." Kyuubi asks politely. Naruto nods. He beckons her as he shows her around. First stop. The kitchen. With 4 burners and 2 ovens, it comes fully stocked with plates, bowls, silverware, towels, tuberware, cookingware, pots, pans, knives, and insulated gloves for handling hot food. An expensive refrigerator with a built-in freezer stands next to a wall. On the freezer door, it has ice cube and water dispenser. The fridge is fully stocked with fruit, meat, milk, veggies, and almost anything else you can think of. Oh, and none of it will spoil. The counters themselves are black marble with an island in the middle that has apples and oranges already on it, ready to be eaten. Kyuubi grabs a raw steak out of the refrigerator and starts to eat it. Next, the bedroom. The high ceilings and the canopy bed with silk sheets make the large room seem very regal. Add to that a bedside table with an elegant lamp and a very large dresser and a closet you could live in leaves plenty of room for clothes and a small country. On the other side of the room is a recliner with a reading lamp and a bookshelf filled overflowing with books within easy reach. The bathroom is what takes her breath away. Polished black marble floors and a separate shower and a porcelain bathtub completed. Dozens of bottles of shampoos, conditioners, and body washes sit in the shower on a shelf of all fragrances. Kyuubi takes a look at the shower. It is big enough to easily have 10 people in it. It would resemble a locker room shower had it not been for the expensive tile and multiple shower mountings, each with a multitude of settings. The shower is also enclosed with glass on the side it isn't touching the wall. Naruto. With as big as you made this shower, one would think that you had plans to add people, she says, trying to and succeeding at embarrassing him. I was trying to think of something you would like. Come on. I have one more thing to show you. As they leave the bathroom, Kyuubi notices a very large floor-length mirror, as well as 4 or 5 big fluffy robes hanging on pegs near the door. It seems that he really did intend on adding people, or he wants to make sure that she doesn't ever need to do laundry. She wipes her mouth with a towel to clean the raw meat off of her face. He takes her out of the bathroom and out to the living room. He then pushes a glass sliding door open that she hadn't known was there and follows him out. The temperature is about 80 degrees in the shade and a very warm breeze. The most immediate thing is an enormous pool, easily 10 feet deep in some places. It is about 30 feet wide and 40 feet across. A few hundred yards away, she spots an even bigger pool. It is the largest body of water that isn't a lake or an ocean. I thought you would enjoy being able to swim in your fox form, so I made that. It is heated and has over 100,000 high-pressure jets. Also over to the side is a heated bath. In here, the time matched the one outside my mind and it never gets cold. Oh, and there is a closet for the pool supplies. Goggles, ships, a volleyball net, torpedoes, along with several swimsuits. Kyuubi just stands there, flabbergasted. Her previous hosts had created a simple room, a field with a cabin, or a castle, but never someplace like this. This place was designed with her in mind. Oh, she is going to enjoy this and can't wait to try out that heated water in her fox form. So? What do you think? Kyuubi just opens and closes her mouth several times. Naruto laughs at her astounded state. An idea comes to mind, not only to shut him up but to thank him. She bends down and kisses him right on the, which makes his eyes go as big as dinner plates, too stunned to react. She kisses him for all she has, using tongue, suction, even nibbles. The scorching, one-sided makeout session ends and Naruto has the biggest blush she has ever seen and has a very dazed look on his face. Kyuubi giggles. I love it. None of my previous hosts came close to this. And this sure beats the hell out of Sower. How did you come up with all of this stuff in 10 minutes? Naruto shakes off his mental coma and shrugs. I've read some things about expensive homes, that's where most of my ideas come from. I also was thinking about what you would like to have here. The whole thing took 10 minutes for me to finalize. Although some of the things I didn't think about, like the shampoo and body wash. Those just came with it. Kyuubi stands in wonder. He is a natural with mindscapes and is easily the most talented she has ever come across. He even created something that knows what should be there and automatically provides it. She is brought out of the thoughts when a gust of wind forces her to get a whiff of herself. She grimaces. Come on. We can talk in the heated bath. Naruto begins to protest about seeing a woman, but she silences them. We can wear swimsuits. I just want to soak right now. That water in the sewer was nasty and made me smell. Of course she would be taking a really hot bath once he leaves, several hot baths. Kyuubi goes over to the cabinet and pulls out a very small bikini that would barely cover anything. She holds it up for him to see. Oh, and what is this? I think someone wanted me to wear this. She teases Naruto. He discovers an entire new shade of red that would made Hinata look white at her most furious blush. Kyuubi gets a good laugh. I am definitely going to enjoy him as my host. That is until I get back to throne, but I don't know when that will be, so I might as well make the most of it. She puts the string bikini back. How about a little privacy? She calls to him, not bothering to look up as she rifles through the closet. Oh, sorry. A curtain appears between the two. Naruto uses the opportunity to use change instantly into orange swim trunks. He climbs into the bath and lets out a groan of appreciation. He sits there for a minute before hearing Kyuubi slide into the bath. When he opens his eyes, he finds her wearing a very modest forest green bikini that offsets her hair, which is all tied up in a tight bun of the top of her head to keep it out of the water. He now sees her stomach, which is very toned and flat with a hint of muscle under it. He can see creamy white legs under the water. She too is looking him over. While he is still young, he has a very well-defined body for a 12-year-old. A developing six-pack is clearly seen, his blonde hair and blue eyes add to his overall look. She sees a lot of potential. Ah, this is better than some drafty sower. You have no idea how cramped your muscles get when they are inactive for 12 years. Thanks, by the way. I know you have no reason to trust me, but I'm glad you do. Naruto shrugs. You haven't given me a reason to mistrust you. When we talked for the first time, you showed me that you're not like the villagers and the textbooks at the academy say you are. They all believe you to be a bloodthirsty monster that would rather kill and eat someone as share the same plane of existence. I decided to give you a change to show me, and so far the village couldn't be further from the truth. He quiets and lets the word sink in. That's very mature, Naru-chan. But I have some explaining to do. Do you know anything about the Throne of Power? Naruto nods slowly. The textbooks say that is rules over the countries and keeps them in line. Kyuubi nods. What else? Naruto furrows his brow, searching his memories for the information. Well, there are 9 people on the throne, and those people are very powerful. They say that the weakest one is above a cage-level ninja. Right. There are several things you don't know because the throne guards these secrets very carefully. Can I trust you to keep these a secret? Because if I can't, then I won't tell you or I will have to kill you. Do you understand? Naruto nods quickly. Don't worry. I don't have many people to tell. I would have told Nao-chan, but since you don't want me to, I won't. Kyuubi smiles. Great. Now what your textbook doesn't say is that those 9 are so powerful because they are like you. They have a Bijuu sealed in them. Naruto is floored. There were people like him and Naomi. What are they like? Are they nice? Can I meet them? He fires in rapid succession. Kyuubi laughs and ruffles his damp hair. Well, to answer your questions, I have to go into a bit of history. Pay attention because I don't want to repeat myself. The throne was started over 500 years ago. The 9 Jinchuriki brought the elemental nations together and ended the first great shinobi war. The elemental nations then formed the Throne of Power to keep themselves in check. Now before you ask, yes, I was there, sealed in my first host. The throne is now on an island called Destiny's Gateway. From there, we monitor the various countries and make sure they behave. And in order to do that, the 9 have to be the strongest they can be. This means that the Bijuu inside of them must work with the Jinchuriki. In order to ensure this, the Bijuu picks the new members of the throne. Are you following alright? After a quick nod from Naruto, Kyuubi continues. Normally when the Bijuu only picks a new host when the one they are currently in is getting to be too old. Now an advantage to being a Jinchuriki is that the Bijuu chakra that heals you prolongs your life considerably. Several of my hosts lasted well over 100 years. Naruto is floored by that statement before he can even begin to think of the implications. Kyuubi continues. Now, there is a man who you must watch out for. His name is Uchiha Madara. This man wishes for the end of the throne and mankind as we know it. He wants to put the entire world under a Jinjutsu and force everyone into servitude. He came after me once, but that doesn't mean he won't do it again. 12 years ago, he snuck onto Destiny's Gateway and somehow infiltrated the compound there. He then made my guardians disappear into another dimension, kidnapped me, killed my host, released me, and forced me to attack your village. Naruto, this man is the most dangerous person in the world right now. He can control Bijuu against their will. If you see him, then you must run and not even attempt to fight him. He has several space-time jutsus that render him impervious to physical damage. Since my Yang chakra and body are in your sister, he will target her too. Naruto's brain is going a million miles a second. So many questions pass through his brain that he can't remember all of them. The sun is setting and lights come on in the bath and around them. So how does he control you, and who was your last host if I may? Naruto asks politely. Thanks for asking if I mind first, and no I don't. First of all, my last host was Amy Takeda. She died when Madara kidnapped her and me. She was only my host for 5 years. The sadness in her tone can't be missed, even by a knucklehead. He scoots over to her. While not touching her, Naruto was trying to give some comfort. Kyuubi inwardly smiles. Not only did she have a very nice host, but one that wasn't afraid of her. She gives him an appreciative smile. Was it weird for a girl to live inside of a girl? Kyuubi laughs. No, because the Bijuu's gender is based on the Jinchuriki they are sealed in. I'm a woman because you're a man. If I was sealed inside your sister, then I would still be a man. When I was sealed into Amy-chan, I was a man also. Naruto frowns. Doesn't that encourage you? No, Naruto pushes his fingers together. He has had the talk with his mother, but to a 10-year-old boy, things like that are just gross. Kyuubi laughs again at the clearly not ready for preteen. Yes, it does. Most Jinchuriki mate with their Bijuu, in fact it is encouraged as it will promote teamwork better. Also they are allowed to have up to 3 others as mates, but the Bijuu is the primary mate because they will outlive the Jinchuriki and the humans they mate with. I guess Jinchuriki can mate with other Jinchuriki, but it hasn't been done before and is frowned upon, since it could lead to some unprofessional alliances in the throne room. Naruto gets very nervous and scoots away a tiny bit. Does that mean you and I? Naruto trails off. Kyuubi is in a tough spot. While traditionally she only mates with people who are at throne, her Jinchuriki and his or her mates, since throne's inception, she doesn't know if he is right for the position. So she can't say yes. But on the other hand, she doesn't want to shatter the boy's confidence and leave him feeling inadequate, making him have problems with women later in life. So she can't say no. She takes the middle ground. I don't know, Naru-chan. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then don't feel bad. But don't worry about it. It is years away of you being in any danger of. The boy nods his head in understanding, but they are getting off topic. Now as for how he controlled me, he has a Dijutsu called the Eternal Manjikam Sharingan, with which he used to place a Jinjutsu over me. Although he doesn't know it, I took some memories from him. I know his plans, his bases, I even know how his space-time jutsu works. Naruto is amazed. He had no idea that the Sharingan had multiple forms. Just then, his stomach growls. I guess it has been a while since I've eaten. Kyuubi stands up in the bath, the water running down her godly body. Kyuubi notices this. While she can't say if she will or wants to have with him, that doesn't mean she can't tease him. Like what you see. He mean no. Naruto says as he turns his head away to hide the blush. Kyuubi giggles. Come on. Let's get changed and go inside. We can get something to eat there. Kyuubi goes back behind the curtain that is still there, while Naruto instantly has on a fuzzy robe and completely dry. He materializes a towel in his hand and walks over to the curtain and holds the towel around the corner. Here is a towel if you need one. He feels her take the towel off his hand. He hears a small thanks. You know, I've been wondering. Is there something else I can call you besides Kyuubi? Well, my friends at Throne call me Kyu. I guess you can call me that. Her voice comes from the other side of the curtain. Alright Kyu-chan. I'll meet you inside. Naruto says as he opens the door and steps inside. He immediately notices a hallway that he didn't put there. He goes over and finds a long hallway with 3 doors, one on each side and one facing him at the end. He goes down these hallways and when he tries to open the doors, he finds them locked. He tried unlocking them with his mind, by no avail. He quickly reaches out for the last door and finds it too is locked. A giant tick mark appears on his forehead. Damn it. This is my mindscape. Why the hell can't I open these damn doors? He picks up his foot and prepares to smash the door in. I wouldn't do that if I were you. A voice behind him says. He turns around to see Kyuubi also in a soft robe. Her very long hair is wrapped up on top of her head in a towel. And why the not? He shouts, taking his frustration out on her. Because that there is the center that controls your memories. You break in that door and you fry your brain. It is a self-defense mechanism. When someone forcefully breaks in and tries to steal your memories, your brain automatically fires itself. So everybody has this. Kyuubi shakes her head. You're the first one I've seen that has this failsafe, though I don't know why you have one. I assume the doors will open when the defense mechanism is gone or deactivated. Naruto grumbles, but decides not to say anything. He follows her out of the hallway. Hey, Kyu-chan. How did you know all that stuff about my memories? Well, I haven't personally seen one, I've read about them and how they are undone. I won't lie to you. You may never open those doors. Or you could open them tomorrow. We don't know what is holding the defense mechanism in place. It could be any number of things. A seal, Jinjutsu, something your brain does like with a repressed memory. Those are just a few of the possibilities. She doesn't tell him that she knows because while watching and examining his memories, she came across gaps. 2 to be exact. She had tried to access the memories by using the memory center, which oddly enough had an entrance inside her cage, but the door was locked. She was about to force it open before recognizing the signs and stops before she did anything. They exit the hallway and find that the sun is already rising. What the hell? It was nighttime a few minutes ago. Kyuubi shrugs. Maybe time passes faster in that hallway, or maybe we actually spent all night in that hallway. A blush creeps up on his face. I don't know, but either way it is time for you to get up. I'm going to sleep for a while, but when I wake up I'll talk to you then. Bye Naru-chan. It was a pleasure to meet you face to face. Naruto feels himself with a very curious sensation. He feels like he is dissolving. He looks down at his hands and sees that they are disappearing along with the rest of his body. A few seconds later, he is gone. Izuna's house 7 a.m. Naruto opens his eyes to sunlight. He rubs his eyes and sits up. He is surprised that not only does his body not hurt anymore, but he feels extremely refreshed. He grabs his clothing scroll and heads to the shower. After a long and hot shower, Naruto feels more refreshed than he can remember. He puts on another orange jumpsuit and exits the shower. He goes downstairs to both teams. "Hey Ani-chan. I take it you feel better?" His sister asks from the dinner table. Naruto nods. "I feel 200% better. Hey now-chan, we need to chat later. I've got something that you might be interested in." She turns her head in confusion, trying to think of what he could have that would interest her when he has been out the past 4 days. Naruto looks around the table and he spots a newcomer. It is the hunter Nin from the bridge. "Who are you?" he asks. "Oh, my name is Haku. I am serving you now instead of Zabuza-sama." Naruto looks over at Naomi for an explanation, but he finds her rolling her eyes at Haku. "Naruto, perhaps it is better if we explain what happened after you lost consciousness," Hana suggests. Just then, Tsunami walks in with a plate for Naruto. "Why don't you sit down and enjoy your breakfast, Naruto-chan?" Naomi looks at the older woman. Ever since her brother saved her and Inari, she has been very clingy to and about Naruto. Offering to help carry him, bathe him, change him, listening on conversations about him, small blushes at the mention of his name. Naomi doesn't like it one bit. "Well, Ani-chan, after you went to sleep, Haku here tried to help Zabuza by attacking Kakashi. Zack and Amy engaged her and fought her and managed to tie her up with Zack's ninja wire. Immediately after that, Kakashi-senpai put her Akiri, lightning cutter, through Zabuza's. Right after that Gato showed up and tried to attack us. Luckily, Hana-sensei with Hiro, Hikaru and Hiroki used Gatsuka, Fang passing Fang, and went through most of the mercenaries. We arrested Gato and have permission to raid his warehouses tonight. Oh, and it is finders keepers for his treasure." Her eyes glint in anticipation at what they might find. The part where Haku comes in is she believes that she only exists to serve someone. "Since you are clearly the most powerful of all of us," she pledged her loyalty to you. I have tried to explain to her that she doesn't belong to anybody and should live a life on her own, but she won't listen. Naruto absorbs this new information. Along with the history lesson he got from Kyuubi, his head starts to hurt. "Is serving me really what you want, Haku?" The woman just nods. "I will give my life to serve you and you alone." Naruto shrugs. "Well, if it's what you want, there is nothing I can do about it now. I'll help with the raid." "Hey, where is Kakashi-sensei?" "Oh, he is at the bridge watching Tazuna while he repairs the bridge." Hana says off the top of her head without thinking. "What do you mean, repair the bridge?" Naruto says suspiciously. "Did something happen while I was out?" The table becomes very quiet. "Well, Ani-chan, when you activated your bloodline, you made an explosion of chakra which damaged the bridge." "How badly?" Quiet again. He slams his hands down on the table, making most of them jump. "How much damage?" he asks again. Naomi looks away. 2 weeks worth. At hearing this, Naruto stands up and walks to the front door. "Ani-chan, where are you going? You haven't even touched your food." He turns his head around. "I caused the damage, so I'm going to help repair it. I'll see you later." And he is gone. The room is silent for a while. "What was that about?" asks Inari. Naruto feels guilty for what he did, how he lost control, and he is the type of person to do whatever it takes to make things right, even at his own expense, Naomi says quietly. He doesn't remember what happened, but he still feels like he did something he shouldn't have, that he could have done more without losing control. Time skip 15 hours, Tazuna's living room. The Konoha shinobi had just gotten back from raiding the docks. Gato's men were ransacking the place, trying to get away with as much as they can. It wasn't much since Wave had kept it very quiet that they had caught Gato and already had his trial, which he was unanimously found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Only an hour ago did they learn of Gato's imprisonment. A shinobi moved in over the complex and within minutes, all opposition was gone. Apparently, he had taken most of his guards to the bridge. Flashback. Naruto opens the window and sneaks into the room, Naomi quick on his heels. The room is dark and from the low lighting, very large. "Now-chan." Naomi snaps her fingers and at the tips of her fingers, light emerges. It is an original jutsu that she invented for infiltration missions where a limited amount of light is preferred. The light is actually highly concentrated electricity. Naruto finds a light switch and turns it on, and Naomi dispels the jutsu. The room is large with a lot of filing cabinets, a very large desk, and a very plush chair. Dark hardwood covers the floor. I'll find the safes if you pack up the documentation. Deal. Naruto offers. Naomi pouts. Why do you get all the fun jobs? Naruto smiles. Because men are better than women. Come on, let's hurry. No telling when we will be interrupted. Naomi sighs, but gets to work. She pulls out 7 or 8 sealing scrolls that she had created earlier that day and tosses 3 of them to Naruto. She starts by sorting all of his documents on his desk. Most are request forms for items, equipment, or new personnel. Not very interesting. She goes to the cabinets and finds them very organized. She starts pulling out dozens of documents labeled transactions. She seals all the documents away quickly. She is going to go over them later at the house to see exactly what they contain. Hey, Ani-chan. What if this guy owns an island? Maybe we can take this for a private family getaway. Oh, and maybe a boat too. Naruto laughs at her as he finds a safe. It is stereotypically behind a painting on the wall of Gato himself. Hey, now Chan, do you mind? Naomi steps up to the safe and with one chakra-enhanced punch breaks the lock. Thanks, now Chan. Remind me not to make you mad. He sees her smile as she heads back to her job. Naruto opens the safe. Inside are things most people would consider treasure. Money. And lots of it. Naruto opens a scroll and labels it accordingly before stashing the money away in it. There had been cash, coins, gems, vouchers, and several other forms of investments. That can't be everything. He has to have more than this. Naruto begins tapping on surfaces, trying to find a safe behind a wall. You know, you could ask me and I could help. A familiar voice says in his head. Ayu-chan. He says quietly. Yeah, it's me. Think your answers so your sister doesn't get suspicious. Now, do these hand signs and repeat after me. Buten K's Tanshiki. Wind release. Wind detector. Naruto now feels the air currents around him. Even the slightest current is now found. After a few seconds, he acclimates himself to this feeling and begins to analyze the air currents. After a minute or so, he finds an irregularity. Some of the air is seeping into the floor. He releases the jutsu and goes over to the plank in question. He pries it up, finding it already loose. Under the plank, he finds a screen that is obviously meant to have a number code. Hey, now Chan, I found something. Naomi walks over and eyes the screen. Do you think you can hack it or at least fry it? Naomi gives Naruto an amused look. Of course I can fry it. I can fry anything with enough lightning. Including your hair. Naruto says, laughing out loud, not only at the memory but her facial expression. Naomi's eyes go wide. You promised not to mention that again. It was an accident. How was I supposed to know that the jutsu would produce so much electricity? At age 8, Naomi had experimented with her first lightning jutsu after finding out it is her affinity. At that age, neither twin had very much control and she supercharged it with Bijuu chakra and it backfired, making her hair stand on end for 3 days. It even stayed that way when wet. It's still funny. Anyways, can we crack the code or do we need to break it open? Naomi puts her hand to her chin and thought. Technically, all data really is just electrical pulses. If I can read those pulses, I can decipher what the code it is looking for. No harm in trying, right? Naomi then puts a finger on the screen. It flickers as Naomi puts electricity into the circuits. While Naomi is finding the code, Naruto finishes sealing away the documents and puts the sealed scrolls into another sealed scroll, making transport very easy. Then he hears smashing. He looks to see Naomi using her fists to smash trough the floor, trying to get to the safe underneath. It didn't work. Naomi shakes her head and stops smashing the floor. I tried, but I put too much electricity into it and fried the chip. If we can't to the lid, we can probably open it ourselves. Naruto walks over to her. I finished sealing the documents and they are all in my pouch so we can focus on this. Hey, Caillou-chan, got any ideas as to how we can do this quickly? We've already been here too long. The fox is silent for a second. Make these hand signs and then direct your hands to the safe. Naruto runs through about a dozen hand signs, making sure to get them right. Demon style. Divine spear. Naomi hears this and looks at Naruto with a very confused look on her face. That quickly turns to shock when a beam of light emits from Naruto's palms. When the light dies down, there is a gaping, smoking hole in the ground. When the two look, they see a metal box with a hole melted in the top, exposing its contents. Uni-chan, how did you do that? Naomi asks, still in shock at the sheer devastation. That is hard to answer, I'll tell you tomorrow. Help me lift this out of the ground. They grip the edge, which is still glowing, but with chakra making a barrier, they don't feel it. They pull, using chakra into their muscles, making them many times stronger than anyone would normally be. Slowly, they pull the massive safe out of the ground. When they finish, both are winded. But the swift punch, Naomi knocks the door open. Quick, just grab whatever you can. We'll go through it later. Then flashback. The rest of the ninja go to bed while Naomi and Naruto sort through their finding. Naomi goes through the documents since she is the faster reader and Naruto through the items from the second safe. Naruto unseals the scrolls and out pop several items. He spots several files and hands them to Naomi, who delves right into them. 4 immediately catch his eye. All 4 are swords. Masterfully crafted with expensive and durable metals, they gleam in the light. It is quite obvious that they are meant to be used in pairs. One has a blood red and golden sheath in a very difficult to follow but elegant pattern, while the hilt is black with more red. The twin is the exact same way but with the colors switching. Black and red on the sheath in the same design and black and gold on the hilt. The swords are very long, over 70 inches, and have a very pronounced curve. The other pair is a little different. The hilt is made entirely out of gold and has a large black gem encrusted in the gold. The sheath on the other hand is made out of pure crystal. Naruto hefts the sword, expecting it to be heavy and clumsy, but it is incredibly light and balanced, even with the sheath on. The twin looks exactly the same, except the gem is pure white. The swords, matching each other, are a little bit shorter than the other two. They are 65 inches and have a less of a curve, making them about the same displacement from the hilt. Naru-chan, do you know what those are? No. They look like very nice swords to me. Those are demon swords. Each comes in a set of 2, each complementing the other. I can't believe that Gato had them. I've been looking for these swords for over 300 years. Those swords are older than I am. He grabs the hilt of one to unsheath it. Wait. Don't do that. Bellows Kyuubi. Naruto stops. He was a nanosecond away from unsheathing it. Don't unsheath any of them. Unlike regular swords, these chose their own wielders. If you had been found unworthy, it would have killed you and I wouldn't be able to do anything to stop it. Wow. Thanks. I'll set these to the side. No, seal them up and take them. Don't tell the others about them as your village will try to use them and a great number of people will die. You can tell your sister and mother, but no one else. There should also be 2 double sheaths for them. Look around and seal them too. Alright Kaio-chan. I'll trust you. What do you have there, Ani-chan? Naomi says over his shoulder. These are very special swords and very dangerous. I'm going to seal them up for us to take home to Ka-chan. We can decide what to do with them later. Don't tell anyone, okay? He finds the double sheaths without much difficulty and seals all 6 items away. Okay, Nai-chan. Come look at what I found. She skips over to a large pile of papers. I was looking through the files we found in the safe. Look at this. She hands him a piece of paper. That is the deed to a private island off the coast of Fire Country. Apparently it isn't too far from Destiny's Gateway where the Throne of Power live. We could be celebrities and own our own island. She informs him very enthusiastically as he reads the paper. He sets it down on the table or is about to when stopped. Wait. Let me look at that deed one more time. Naruto holds it up again to let Kyuubi take a look. That son of a bitch. How did he get his hands on this? Oh, I want to pick that man's brain now. How the did he get all this stuff? She roars inside his head. What's up Kaio-chan? That in your hand is the deed to my, or was my personal, archives. That island is where I keep all my records, all my investments, all my property, and all my collections of weapons. I put a genjutsu on it to hide it from outsiders. How he got this, I have no idea, but take that too. I'm not leaving my collections in the hands of Konoha who will abuse it. We need to go there as soon as possible. There is no telling how much that man has stolen. Naruto pulls out the scroll he sealed the swords in and seals the deed. Find a deed to a boat so we can get to the island later. They can have the rest of this stuff. Right. Hey, Ani-chan, there are some documents in here that detail every transaction Gato ever had. It looks like something to blackmail people with. Ani-chan, come here. You'll want to see this. The seriousness in her voice makes him hurry. He takes the paper. Look here. She points to a transaction line about halfway down the first page. 1,200 slaves transferred to Danzo of Konoha for 5 million ryo. And it's dated 2 weeks ago. What the hell? Why would he need so many slaves? The only thing I can think of is that he is trying to summon Shinigami-sama. What? Shinigami-sama only shows up in only 2 scenarios. 1. Someone summons him in which he takes the soul of the summoner. 2. There is large-scale death in which he comes to collect the souls himself to ensure that they all get taken. He must be trying to get Shinigami-sama to grant him a favor by providing a lot of souls for a trade. I don't know what that favor would be, but it won't be good whatever it is. Wait. Isn't the seal that contains you one that Shinigami himself put on me and my sister? You're right. He must be trying to undo the seal on you and your sister and put me in someone more willing to cooperate with him, which would kill you both. Naruto's face visibly pales. Change of plans. We have to contact the throne and let them know. They have the authority to conduct an investigation when invited. We need to show this to Wave's government and have them requested. Alright. We can do it in the morning. Of course, it will take an awful lot of explaining to do. I can help with that. There is a jutsu that we Biju created to make ourselves appear in the real world. But I don't know if it will work now because the seals we created it to work with are different. Excuse yourself to go outside. Hey, now Chan, I need some air. I'll be back in a little while. Leave that piece of paper out. I'll seal it when I get back. Naomi looks up from the stack of documents. Okay, Nai-chan. Don't wander too far. Naruto walks a good 30 feet from the house. Okay. This will be far enough. Make these hand signs. Naruto does. Demon style. Demon revealing technique. Nothing happens. Naruto tries again, making sure he did everything right. Still nothing happens. Naruto feels the chakra form in his hands, but the jutsu doesn't activate. Great. I was afraid of this. Well. Go back in and I'll work on a way of pulling everyone into the Mindscape. Naruto walks back in and Naomi rushes him. Hey Nai-chan, I found a boat. That's great now Chan. It's called the Sea King. Here is a picture I found with a deed. She shows him a picture. It is a long white boat. On the back of the picture has some specifications. 200 feet in length, 3 decks, 7 cabins all with queen-size beds or bigger, crew of 15 including a cook, a very large master bathroom, several jacuzzi, sun deck, study, outdoor and indoor dining halls, and exercise room. And go to rise M equals EBROCHURE and Yaki equals 4411 and charter key equals 149 and charter lock key equals 75 and charter per key equals 283 and page equals to see pictures and full description. Wow. This will do. Although the crew will have to be interviewed, but I don't think they will have a problem with the change in ownership. Naruto seals the deed and the photo away and the condemning piece of evidence. Naruto finishes looking over the rest of the items from the safe. Some of it is valuable, but doesn't hold any interest. Naruto packs it up as Naomi finishes examining the documents. Let's have Kakashi-senpai and Hana-sensei go over it in the morning. I'll seal them up and take the scrolls with me in case anybody tries anything. Good idea now Chan. If you wouldn't mind holding on to this one too, it will help make sure that we don't get the stuff we are keeping. He hands over the appropriate scroll to her, which she stuffs down her cleavage. This raises an eyebrow from Naruto, which she catches. What? I don't think anybody has the gut to reach into no man's land. Naruto smirks. Well, it will be some man's land someday, so don't make it a habit of hiding things there. Naomi turns bright red at that. Ani-chan, you're so mean. She says before running up the stairs. She makes no noise as she ascends the stairs. Once she reaches the top, she sticks out her tongue at him and disappears into her room. Time skip next morning. 7 AM. Naruto is already awake and downstairs. Naruto has the scroll that has the items that the Namikaze is on his body. He doesn't trust his certain Uchiha not to go rifling through his things. Iubi had woken him up early and explained the premise of how to pull others into the Mindscape. Then she actually taught him the jutsu. Someone coming down the stairs catches his attention. It's Kakashi. Hey, Kakashi-sensei, I need to talk with you, Hana-senpai, and Nao-chan this morning. Something has come up. Kakashi turns to face him. Okay. What is it? Naruto shakes his head. I need all 3 of you to be here. I'm not going to repeat myself and it will take a long while to explain. Kakashi nods his understanding, but is wondering what could be so important. He sits on the couch next to Naruto. A few minutes later Hana comes down the stairs. Naruto tells her the same thing, which she has the same reaction as Kakashi. As Tsunami comes out with breakfast, Naomi comes down the stairs and catches the wink Tsunami sends to Naruto. Hana's dogs begin to bark outside. A few seconds later, a knock on the door. The 4 instantly are on edge. Tsunami answers the door, wondering who would be out this early. In the doorway is a man and a woman. Male is about Naruto's height and has red hair with dark circles around his eyes and carries a gourd on his back. The female is shorter than the male, has dark skin, short green hair, and red eyes. Is this the home of Tazuna? The male says. Yes. May I help you? Tsunami says politely. We are from the throne of power, and the man stops as his eyes fall on Naruto. Yes. I never thought they would show up so quickly. That chakra explosion must have really been something to pinpoint my location. You must come with us, demands the female. She pushes Tsunami out of the way and strolls into the house. Instantly Hana and Kakashi are in front of Naruto as well as Naomi. What is this about? Asks Kakashi, very nervous about the obviously very powerful shinobi in front of them. This is about the Kyuubi no Yoko, answers the redhead. 6 people stare at each other with one clueless bystander. Tsunami stands and looks back between the two groups, slightly trembling from the very palpable tension. Her fear that her house will be turned into a battle zone and it being demolished in the process is very likely at the moment. Kid, you better jump in there before a fight happens. There is no way your group can stand up to 2 throne plus 8 guardians, Kyuubi warns him. Wait. Everyone turns to look at Naruto. Let's talk about this like civilized people and not kill each other, Naruto pleads. The redhead scoffs at the idea of the Konoha shinobi killing one of them, but the green-haired girl shoots him a glare that shuts him up. Very well. My name is Fu. This is Gaara. We are here on official throne business. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. My sister Naomi. They are Kakashi Haddock and Hana and Yuzuka, our sensei. Naruto gestures to each person in order. I know you have come here for Kyuubi, but there are things we must discuss. We should go somewhere we will not be overheard. Fu seems to agree with him. Such topics are best discussed behind closed doors. We passed a large lake on the way here. We could go set up there. It will be more secure and remote, suggests Fu. Kakashi, not knowing what is going on, tries to get things under his control. I don't know what the throne has to do with the Kyuubi, but Naruto is a shinobi of the leaf and we cannot allow him to be kidnapped. He moves to uncover the Sharingan when Naruto's hand stops him. I wouldn't do that. These people are above cage level and their guardians are cage level. We can't take 10 shinobi of that level, so let's talk before resorting to violence. It would be like fighting 8 Jiraiya's and 2 Minato Namikas all at the same time. The group is slightly surprised at his knowledge of throne, no more than Gaara and Fu. Slightly stunned at Naruto's forwardness, Kakashi very reluctantly accepts it only because his shinobi are going haywire, telling him that Naruto is indeed correct. He slowly takes his hand away from his hit I-8. All 7 move out the door. Hana, who was leading the rear of the group, stops when Tsunami follows them outside. I'm sorry, but this is a private conversation. Please stay in the house where it is safe. Hana wasn't about to be rude to their host without due cause. Once she is sure that Tsunami isn't going to follow, she meets up with the group. Once they clear the house, Naruto turns to Fu. Could 2 of your guardians watch the house? We are on a mission here to protect the family that lives here and we can't while talking. Fu looks at Gaara for a second before snapping. Instantly 4 shinobi appear in front of her. They all wear the same demon-style mask with armor that covers most of their body. How can we serve you today? They all ask at the same time. Karasuba and Kazuma go and secure the house. Place the standard defensive seals around the perimeter and stand guard until we return. Hayek and Mizzy have the other guardians set up a perimeter around us once we reach the lake, she orders. Yes, ma'am. And all 4 disappear, almost like they were never there. A few minutes later, they all arrive at the lake. Everyone turns to Naruto. Alright, talk, Gaara demands. Naruto sighs. This is going to take a long time. Kyuubi right now is telling me to pull you all into the Mindscape so she can talk as well. The 3 leaf shinobi are dumbstruck. Yeah, you can talk to it. Kakashi breathes out. Naruto growls. Kyuubi is not in it. She is my friend and not at all like the village portrayed her. So don't start talking like you know her. The group is shocked at how vehemently Naruto is defending Kyuubi. He receives a very harsh glare from Naomi for an unknown reason, which is odd because he usually can read her like a very advanced book. He may not know some words, but he gets the general idea. Naruto takes a deep breath and calms down and decides to ask her later about it. The jutsu that Kaiu came up with will pull everyone within 2 feet into my mindscape. Are you okay with that? He asks the group. He gets immediate nods from his sister and the Jonin. Fu and Gaara discuss it for a minute before nodding. They all get within 2 feet of Naruto after informing the guardians and Naruto forms 5 hand signs. Anapu. Saishin no Shugun. Demon Art. Gathering of Minds. Naruto's Mindscape. The 6 materialize inside Naruto's mind. Immediately they see Kyuubi in a plain but elegant white kimono and a blue obi sitting on a stool at the kitchen, chewing on a raw steak with her bare hands and drinking a bloody martini with real blood. Everyone just looks for a minute. No talking, no sound. Kyuubi just continues to snack before sighing. She drains the martini, which was a pretty big glass. That gets their eyes open. Then Kyuubi takes the entire 20 ounces steak and stuffs her face. It is gone 5 seconds later. She whips around when she hears jaws hit the floor. She wipes her mouth with a napkin before rounding on her guests. How long have you been standing there? She asks dangerously. No answer. How long? She growls. Nobody answers or is dumb enough to. But Naruto, being the knucklehead and least attuned to women's moods, answers. Long enough to see you like you steak. Naruto laughs outright as her expression. Before anyone can do anything, Naruto is flying through the air and hits the wall, cratering it. It also has the secondary effect of shutting him up. You should learn when to comment and when to shut up. "Women can be very delicate," she says offhandedly as she dusts her fist off. Naruto snorts and pulls himself out of the wall. Unfortunately for Naruto, that hit must not have been hard enough to wake up his brain. "You delicate. That is saying a water dragon doesn't hurt." The group sweat drops. "You really want to get sent into another wall," was the average thought. Before anyone can react, Naruto is again embedded in the wall, but this time much deeper, to the point to where he would have to expend a large amount of effort to get out by himself. Everyone looks surprised to see Kyuubi still standing there. Another impact and Naruto is seen against an intact wall. The culprit this time is Naomi, her hand hoisting him by his neck, keeping him in the wall. A menacing purple aura surrounds her. Dark emotions swirl like powerful tides through her. Betrayal, hurt, loneliness. The one person who knew everything she has been through, knows how she feels, understands her more than anybody else, the person she trusts more than anyone now has put a huge hole in her faith and trust. Her emotional dam is cracking and is breaking more and more by the second. While Naruto is being manhandled by Naomi, Kyuubi motions for Fu and Gaara to follow her. Naruto, even with Naomi beating him into the wall, was aware enough to her feint, "Let's give them some space. I'll show you around. You aren't going to believe this place." Naomi looked up at him with slit pupils, accessing the other half of Kyuubi's chakra. "When were you going to tell Kacchan and I about this? How long has that been going on, Naruto? Whatever happened to we don't keep secrets?" She increases the grip on his throat, slowly crushing his windpipe. "Whatever happened that we trust each other with everything?" Silent and hot tears roll down her flawless face. Naruto tries to say something, but her hand is blocking all air from moving to get any sort of volume. He tries to take her hand away, but her grip is like trying to get an Akamichi to not eat at an all-you-can-eat buffet with low prices and gourmet food. Seeing how nothing he does gets through to her, he resorts to using his Mindscape. Suddenly Naomi flies across the room to collide with a foamy wall. She stares for a second in shock before glaring at Naruto. She tries to get up but finds herself constricted by the wall, much to her surprise. She thrashes around, trying to get loose, but her bindings hold firm. The Kakashis and Hanas are wide open in shock, which quickly goes away, and they prepare to jump in between the fighting siblings. "Just hold on a second now, Chan, and give me a chance to answer. I didn't tell you because I only met her 2 days ago." Hana and Kakashi stop, seeing that Naruto isn't going to attack her back, and decide to just let them work it out. So they go to the kitchen and grab something to drink. That gets Naomi to stop moving. Her eyes narrow as she looks at her brother, trying to determine if what he is saying is true or not. "Do you doubt me that much that you would attack me at the first sign of dishonesty? Am I that untrustworthy?" It hits her like a hard slap to the face. She had jumped to conclusions, and showing just how willing she is to jump to conclusions. She feels terrible. Now she has hurt her brother, her comforter, the one she draws strength from. Tears start to gather in her eyes, ashamed of her behavior, her lack of trust in who she is supposed to trust above all. She tenses as she feels someone wrap their arms around her, but soon relaxes as she looks up to see her brother's trademark yellow hair. She wraps her arms around him torso and openly sobs. Naruto just holds her while she cries. "It's okay now, Chan. Let it out. You don't have to keep it all bottled up." After a few minutes, she stops crying, but doesn't let go. "I am sorry. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I'll do anything. Please don't leave me." It comes out no more than a whisper. Naruto put his hand under her chin and gently forced her to look at him in the eyes. "Naomi Uzumaki, nothing could make me do that. You are my family and you are my best friend. There isn't anything I wouldn't do for you and Kacchan. It will take a lot more than something like this to make me leave." He gives her one of his million-watt smile, assuaging her fears. This of course makes her hold on tighter to him. A shiver runs down her spine and her cheeks become hot. Her entire body heats up. How can such a simple thing as a smile make her react like that? She is broken out of her thoughts as Naruto continued to talk, completely unaware of her revere. "And besides, I might have had the same reaction you did. Although I don't think I would be able to hoist you up by your neck. Not without your freaky strength," he says with a goofy grin. That gets a small laugh out of her. Naruto disengages her from him. "Let's go get Hana-senpai and Kakashi-sensei. We have a lot to talk about," while Kyuubi gives the others a tour. Naomi nods and latches onto his arm and refuses to give it up. They walk into the kitchen where Hana is snacking on some pieces of bacon and Kakashi is drinking something while reading his smut. Naruto doesn't know what it is, but the color is making him queasy just by looking at it. "I see you two made up," was the greeting Kakashi gave them. "You know, I suggest you put the book away before something happens to it that you will regret," Naruto threatens. Kakashi just shrugs. "You won't be able to do anything about it." Naruto smirks deviously. Suddenly Kakashi shrieks and drops the book while trying to claw his eyes, yes, even the Sharingan, out. Hana is over to him in a second and holding his hands to prevent him from doing just that. Despite her best efforts, Kakashi is slowly winning due to his greater strength. What the hell did you do? Hana yells at him over Kakashi's yelling. She lets go of a hand and hits his solar plexus, dropping him to his knees and forcing him to stop trying to injure himself. Naruto just waves at her jovially. Oh, nothing much. I just changed the content of his book to yaoi. Hokage edition. I told him to put it away, but he didn't listen. He was arrogant and forgot where we are. It's my Mindscape. I can do just about anything here. I suggest you remember that next time, Kakashi. By that time Kakashi had tried to stop injuring himself. I will never look at a Mambo line the same way again. I will never be able to get the picture of Sandame doing. That's enough. I don't want to hear it. Shouts Hana. Secretly though, she is wondering what Naruto had come up with. A small nosebleed comes out of her nose which didn't go unnoticed. Naomi this whole time is cataloging this away for future blackmail. Now that we are done with that, we are here for a reason. So let's get to it. Naruto and Naomi join their sensei at the counter. Naomi is as close to him as possible as the counter will let, still feeling clingy. Naruto doesn't mind. He rarely gets contact like this, so he isn't complaining. First of all, what I'm about to say stays here. Kyuubi had me promise not to tell anyone, but she gave me permission to tell you 3 since 1. Naomi, you would find out anyways, and 2. We need your help, he points to Hana and Kakashi. So before I tell you any more, I need promises from all 3 of you that you won't speak to another soul about this. Naomi promises immediately while Hana and Kakashi are more reserved. You realize that we'll have to report whatever you say to Hokage-sama, right? Naruto shakes his head. Not even him. If what I tell you gets out, then the consequences will be global. If you can't swear to silence, then I will kick you out of my mind. Both Jonin are put on edge by the seriousness in his voice. Hana sighs. Alright, I'm in, but it better be worth it. Naruto nods and all eyes are on Kakashi. Fine, but what? If you deem it important enough, you will tell Jiji, grandfather. That is precisely what I'm trying to prevent. Something is going on in Konoha and I can't risk it getting out. Either swear or you're leaving. Seeing that he isn't going to get a compromise, Kakashi shakes his head. I cannot do that. It's not that I don't trust you, but I won't keep secrets from the Hokage. I will be reporting that you have a secret and that Kyuubi has contacted you. Naruto nods his head. I understand. One must keep true their own convictions. But know that you not staying will have consequences in the future. Kakashi is about to ask what consequences when he is picked up by Naruto and tossed at high speeds towards a random corner of the room. As he is about to make contact with the wall, the world goes black. He feels he is suffocating. He can't breathe, can't move. He feels like he is being twisted, compressed, and stretched all at the same time, spaghettification. Just when he is about to pass out, he springs from his sitting position up by the lake where they had been drawn into Naruto's mind. He looks around to find the rest of them unconscious. Kakashi shakes his head and walks towards Naruto, intent on searching him. But as he approaches, a kunai to his throat stops him. He looks behind him to see a brown-haired woman behind a mask holding a kunai to his throat. As he looks over her outfit, he notices she has some decent-sized S under her armor. Proceed to the house. You have no business here now, she says in a very deadly and serious voice. And you are? I am Yuzume, number 10 and head of Lord Gaara's guardians. Leave now before you are forced to leave, she answers coldly. Kakashi, sizing her up, sees that he is nowhere near her level. From her reserves to the look in her eyes that screams power and confidence. He curses his luck and will have to search him later. Very well, was all he says before walking back to the house. Back inside Naruto mind, he has just finished explaining the 9 throne all hold Bijuu, and Kyuubi is the 9th and most powerful Bijuu, and they are here to take Kyuubi back to Destiny's Gateway. So what happens now? Hana asks. Naruto shrugs. Don't know. I guess we discuss that while we are in here. Let's join the others now that you are caught up. Naomi and Hana follow Naruto out to the patio. Naruto steps out and instantly gets tackled by a blonde blur. He looks up from the ground to see a woman with very short blonde hair, giantess, and gray eyes with black circles around her eyes straddling him. Her head is on his and seems to be trying to meld with him. Who are you? He asks, still in shock. Our air fired. You, boy, would you be my new container? She asks as she continues to rub herself on him. She ignores the large amount of Kai coming from Naomi and the surprised looks from Gaara. Shukaku, get off my container no. Kyuubi demands. The now dubbed Shukaku looks at Kyuubi before sticking her tongue at her before resuming rubbing herself along Naruto, who is having a very tough time not reacting. No, he is mine. I refuse to give up someone who created this resort on his first try. Kyuubi growls. Perhaps you have forgotten in my absence that I am the strongest Bijuu. Kyuubi suddenly grows 2 ears on the top of her head and 9 tails sprout from under her kimono. Two tails shoot forward and grab Shukaku's wrists and lifts her off the ground and pulls her to Kyuubi. Listen and listen well. I will excuse your actions this time, but you had better not forget again. Know your place. Yeah, I know this quote is overused, but it works so well. Kyuubi elongates her tails and swings Shukaku around and around, getting to incredible speeds before letting go, and Shukaku shoots off and lands on the far side of the lake 250 feet away. There, now that the trash is taken care of, I do believe that we have something to talk about. Naomi helps Naruto off the ground after shooting him a glare. Naruto looks at her weirdly, wondering what that was for. Naruto, if you would be a deer and make us somewhere to sit, Kyuubi coos at him. Blushing slightly, he conjures up 8 chairs around a circular table. Naruto notices for the first time a tall, very muscular green-haired man sitting next to Fu and they are holding hands. Naruto is in between Kyuubi and Naomi who is sitting next to Hana. Then an empty seat, then Gaara, then Fu, then the green man, lastly coming full circle back to Kyuubi. That must be the Biju sealed inside of her, but how is he out? Before we start, I think introductions are necessary as I don't know you two, Kyuubi states, referring to Fu and Gaara. Well, I am Fu Ichirama. I hold the Nanabi no Kabutamashi, 7-tailed beetle. I have been a part of Throne for 7 years and the head of medicine. I replaced Jamafeku. I'm Subaku no Gaara. I hold Ichibi no Shukaku. I have been a part of Throne for 5 years. My job is head of internal affairs. Anything that happens inside Throne goes through me. I replaced Mito Karagami. The man next to Fu speaks next. I am the Nanabi. You may address me as either Kabuto or Mushi. My specialty is super strength and control of insects like your Aburam clan. In fact, they got that ability from me. I gave them insect contracts. Thus then Shukaku turns around the corner, thoroughly drenched, her clothes now see-through. Naruto turns away very quickly to keep from having a nosebleed. She sees this and smirks. She stretches, showing more of her cleavage and plops down in the empty chair. Suddenly she disappears in a cloud of smoke before reappearing not a second later, completely dry. She shoots Gaara a small glare, which he happily returns. And who are you three? Fu asks as Gaara is too busy having a staring contest with Shukaku. I am Naruto as he looks at Naomi. Should we just tell them? It will come out eventually and with Throne involved, nobody will try anything. She strikes a thinking pose. I don't know. Kachan said not to tell anybody, but I guess she will forgive us. Naruto nods and turns back to the group. I'm Naruto Namikaze and this is my sister, Naomi Namikaze, children of the Yondaime Hokage. And this is Hana Inuzuka, my sister's Jonin instructor. The other guy is Kakashi Haddock, my Jonin instructor, but he couldn't swear to secrecy, so I kicked him out. Hana has her mouth hanging wide open. How had she not seen it before? He is an exact copy of his father. She smacks herself on the forehead for her idiocy. You may have a question, Naomi speaks up. Everyone's attention turns to Naomi, who shrinks back. Normally she is aggressive, challenging. But these are hardly normal circumstances. Kyuubi-san, I was wondering how are you wandering around? I thought you would be locked up or something like a prison. Kyuubi turns her red eyes on Naomi who shrinks further and tries to hide behind Naruto. Valid question I guess. Originally this didn't exist. Naruto's mindscape was a sewer and I was held in a cage. Naruto, using his control over his own mind, changed it to look like this. Now still being restrained by the seal, I have to have something to keep me from either breaking free or harming Naruto, so he put these scraps of paper that act as the binding to him. He could have chosen a collar, but neither he nor I like that idea. Makes me look like a dog and a servant too much. Naomi nods her understanding. Now that we have all gotten here, we have much to discuss. First thing is we need waves to request an inquiry into Konoha. We have evidence that Danzo, a Konoha elder, acquired 1,200 slaves from Gedo. I believe that he is trying to summon Shinigami-sama. Only here a very powerful seal breaker that only Throne has can break the Shikifujin. Why would he do that? Asks a confused Fu. Because he wants me. I'm not totally here. Half of my chakra and my body are in Naomi. Shinigami-sama only appears when summoned or when there are a huge number of people that die in a very short amount of time. I think that he plans to use them as a gift to break the seal on both Naruto and Naomi. To what purpose? Asks Mushi. A sudden movement of chairs and Shukaku is instantly on Gaara's lap and the two heatedly making out. Naomi points to the two. What's with them? Shukaku is bipolar. She must be having one of her hypomanic episodes. It makes her extremely impulsive. We don't need them anyways as long as Mushi-kun and Fusan are listening. Danzo has always been about doing what he thinks is best for Konoha. He runs an illegal group called Ruth that helps him accomplish his goals. He believes every country is a threat and the only way to deal with the threat is by conquering everything. He is the type of person to believe that he is incapable of being wrong, and he will stop at nothing to do what he thinks needs to be done. Hana has a personal grudge against him as he stole 3 of their most prized dogs into his root program, and she sees the results of their breeding all over Konoha. But that knowledge, I assume that he is going to use Shinigami-sama to seal me entirely into someone more cooperative with his goals than Naruto and Naomi. We need to convince Waves to put in an investigative request to Throne. Danzo probably won't move while a squad of Inquisitors is there. The problem is, if the seal is broken, both of them will die with the unrestrained Yaki that they hold in them. There is no way that they won't now. They have to build up their tolerance to my Yaki first if they have any chance of surviving. Naruto and Naomi pale. So we have to stop him. I will put in a request to Waves government as soon as possible, Hana says with vigor. That's great and all, but we were sent here to escort you back to Throne, no exceptions, Gaara informs her, now that Shukaku isn't occupying his mouth. She is asleep in his arms, her head against his dot. Kyuubi shakes her head. I need to return to Konoha. I need to figure out why Throne wasn't told so I could be retrieved and who is responsible. Naruto hits his hands on the table in anger. It was Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Sandaime Hokage. He knew about you being from Throne, and he could have made our lives much easier, but instead he chose to make it a living hell, all for a little power. Hana gets where he is going. We were pretty weak after Kyuubi attacked. We just lost our Hokage, 40% of our ninja forces were gone, and our infrastructure had taken a beating. I can understand him wanting to bolster our power, but knowingly going against Throne is stupid. That is not an excuse. If we had been informed, we would have taken care of Konoha as a policy because Kyuubi was our charge. We would have declared Konoha off limits until it reached 90% of its power before the attack. All cages know this. The question is, was it the third or the fourth who came up with this, Mushi informs them. Hana thinks for a second. I don't think it was the fourth. He was instated the day of the attack and he might not have even known the truth about Throne. That leaves the third. It is hard to believe he would do such a thing. Well, your fourth may have that excuse, but not Hiruzen. I have met him many times since he was Hokage from right after the Second Great Ninja War all the way through the Third Great War. I was on a delegation board, or my container at the time was, and we hammered out a peace treaty. If what we are saying is true, he will be arrested and tried for attempting to undermine the balance of power through illegal means, Mushi adds in. Well, now we have one more thing to discuss. Since we are going back to Konoha, we will have to wait until the bridge is complete. At the current rate, it will take a further 2 weeks to repair and finish the bridge, Kaiju says offhandedly. Naruto hangs his head in guilt while Shukaku rears her head. But the Kaiju. We are supposed to bring you back, not take you on a leisure stroll. Great, another mood shift, Naomi thinks while shaking her head. I have been away for 12 years, I think I can wait another 3 weeks. Besides, that will give Throne time to get the Inquisitors to Konoha and sniff out this Danzo to keep Naruto and Naomi safe. There is a way we can speed up construction. Naruto, have Tazuna repair the damaged side and have you and Naomi build up the other side. Naruto nods, still looking guilty. I don't like it. It's bad enough that we are taking as long as we are. Now we have to report to Hachibi. Kyuubi shrugs. You would have had to either way to send the request form. I don't see the problem. Shukaku looks pissed, but then shrugs and starts making out with Gaara again. Now that the important topics are out of the way, Hana, you had best keep that Uchiha away from me and the twins. Because I will take control of Naruto and kill him if he so much as looks at either one. And he better get more of a punishment of a month with no mission pay. Hana quickly nods at the amount of Kyuubi is putting behind her threat. Wait, what happened? Fu asks. The 4 from Throne are confused. Usually Konoha is very teammate oriented and are very friendly to each other. Something must have happened to disrupt that or their intelligence was wrong. Kyuubi describes in detail what happened on the bridge. Fu and Mushi are pissed, and Gaara is holding on to Shukaku who is suddenly crying. Naomi looks across to Gaara. Does this happen often? More than you know, but it makes her unique and I wouldn't change her in the least, Gaara says as he strokes her hair, trying to calm her. In truth, her mood changes aren't nearly so rapid, but seeing her very old friend for the first time in 12 years is sending her emotions into chaos. So the plan is, we petition Waves, complete the bridge, find out why Throne wasn't informed, and then go to Throne, taking about 3 weeks to do right. Hana asks for clarity. Kyuubi nods. Well, it's been an enlightening conversation folks, but it's time to get the hell out of my house. I want to go for a swim and I can't do that with so many onlookers. Everyone but Kyuubi gets up and goes indoors. Naruto lags behind and gets rid of the table and most of the chairs. After that is done, he makes to go inside as well. Naruto, wait up. Naruto stops and sees Kyuubi standing, looking at him with an odd expression. What is it, Kyu? She takes a deep breath. She opens her mouth to say something, but suddenly closes it. "Tu just wanted to tell Yao to come back into the seal tonight. I have something to discuss with you." She stammers, which for her is very rare and embarrassing. "Oh, okay. See you then." Land of waves. One by one the group wakes and emerges from their induced comas. Naruto is the last one to awaken, and when he stands up, he is confronted by a guardian. "You hold Kyuubi-sama, correct?" she asks. She has very long brown hair and large brown eyes. "Yes, I hold Kyuubi-Zol. My sister holds her chakra. What can I do for you?" he asks politely. "No use getting into a fight with someone who can beat the shit out of you. My name is Yuzume, head of the Divine Guardians for Lord Gaara. I'm just informing you that the silver-haired man you called Kakashi tried to search you while you were unconscious. I stopped him, but he didn't seem dissuaded from trying again. He maybe searched your belongings in the house." Naruto and Naomi, who came up beside him, are fuming. "Thank you, Yuzume-san, and I appreciate your assistance." At that moment Gaara and Fu join the conversation. "Yuzume, I want you and Hokufu to watch over these two. Well, they aren't enthroned, they do carry Kyuubi-sama and must be protected as such." She bows very low. "As you wish, Lord Gaara. I shall also be assigning 2 of my guardians to you as well. I will keep watch for Kakashi and keep him from doing anything that would harm either of you. As of this moment, you are under the protection of the Throne of Power. We shall make that announcement for the rest of the group as well." Naruto and Naomi look at each other before smiling and bowing to the 2 throne. "Thank you very much. We appreciate any help we can get." Later that night, Naruto jumps into the Mindscape. The first thing Naruto notices is that the room is much darker than normal. The second thing he notices is that there is a strange smell in the air. The third thing he notices is that he hears something. He follows the sound to the outside patio and chuckles at what he sees. There in all her glory is Kaiu whirling around in the mud, getting her fur all dirty and tangled. Naruto can see clumps of mud matting and clinging to her normally pristine fur. Kyuubi doesn't notice him and keeps rolling around, making weird noises that sound like a cross between a mule and a growl, but whatever it is clear she is enjoying herself. Naruto can't take it anymore and bursts out laughing. Kyuubi stops rolling immediately and faces her trespasser. She shifts back into her human form, but is still thoroughly covered and caked in mud. She glares at him as she approaches. "You tell anybody about this and I will swap around your genetic structure until you're a whale." Naruto slowly stops laughing and notices that she isn't wearing anything but mud, giving him a generous look at her godly body. She sees this and stretches herself out, giving him quite a show. He instantly sports a nosebleed. "You know, mud is very good at maintaining good skin, which is the reason I have mud baths. I just don't like others to know, as it is Satori most would think I was crazy." Naruto nods and smirks. "But that doesn't explain why you were enjoying it. I heard whatever sounds you were making. You were obviously enjoying it." Kyuubi has the decency to blush. "Well, I will admit that there is something deep down that finds it exhilarating. To give in to one's instincts wholly and just let go. But you didn't come here to talk about bathing habits. I asked you here because we need to talk about your future." Naruto wises up quickly. "What do you mean?" "I mean that when we get back to throne, there is a strong chance that I will be removed from you and you will be sent back to Konoha. You know that each of us Biju choose our hosts, and with that comes an enormous responsibility. I don't know if you are the right person for the job of running throne." Naruto suddenly feels a heavy weight on his dot. He hadn't really thought about it, but somewhere in his mind, he just assumed that Kyuubi would always be with him. Naruto looks away, not sure what to think or feel. Kyuubi feels a pang of guilt from the hurt look on his face and rushes to make herself understood. For some reason she feels the need to make him understand. "Look, my position is one of the hardest ones to fill. I am or was directly responsible for thousands of people and indirectly everyone in the elemental nations. There is a reason only 2 of my containers live past 100. Being the strongest Biju, I get set out for the biggest and hardest tasks, and on top of that I have to run a government. Don't get me wrong though. You are very talented and strong and have an amazing amount of potential, but that alone isn't enough." She pauses to see if her words had any effect on him. He twitches, but no other reaction. Her tightens and is strongly compelled to keep going. "I didn't say that it will happen, just that it might, and you have the right to know what might happen. Your life has been filled with so much pain and loneliness, and I don't want to add to that. But we are a long way away from that decision, so don't dwell on it too much. I don't want you to become depressed or feel like you are entitled to the position. I just want you to be prepared for the possible outcomes." Naruto takes it all in. He still doesn't know what to feel or how to react. He doesn't know why he is bothered by the thought of not seeing her again. He only met her a few days ago, but it is there. Unable to deal with this, he goes on autopilot. He numbly nods his understanding. Not really caring that she is or covered in drying mud, she draws him into a hug and gently strokes his whisker marks, making him purr softly. They stay like this, neither talking, until the morning and watch the sun rise over the horizon. Time skip 2 weeks. A group walks down the worn-down path towards Konoha. They are a few hours out since they got done a few days early. A lot of things have happened. First, it wasn't difficult convincing Wave to put in an inquiry for investigation. Wave's government was convinced they owed the shinobi and were glad to help out in any way they could. Next has to do with Sasuke. Since he wasn't up when Throne got there and had not seen the interaction, when they sat down for breakfast and he found not one but 2 Throne there, he had stars in his eye. Everyone was very quick to agree that Sasuke with starry eyes looked very creepy and told him to stop immediately. Or that's what would have happened. There had been a bet going between Naruto, Naomi, Gaara and Fu to see how Sasuke would react. After telling them his personality, they agreed that it was only a matter of time before he demanded them to train him. Their bet was how he would ask and how long it takes for him to ask. The wager was the losers had to each pay for a meal and the winner gets to choose where and what he or she eats. Ayubi wanted in, but without anything to wager, she was left out. Gaara picked later the same day and asked nicely to be trained. Fu's was also the same day, but he demands to be taught because he is an Uchiha. Naruto picked immediately and it would also be demanding, also very rude. Naomi was the wild card. She chose the next day and would assume they were there to train him. So when Sasuke came down the stairs, Naomi quickly ran behind him, chopped him on the back of the neck and beat the shit out of him while he was unconscious. The rest stared wide-eyed as Sasuke got his ass handed to him until Kakashi came in and stopped her. When the others cried foul play, she told them, "You didn't say that I couldn't beat him up to make sure he didn't ask today." Unfortunately for her, things didn't go as planned. The next morning when Sasuke woke up from the previous beating, he climbed down the stairs and looked surprised at the 2 guests. When Sasuke opened his mouth, Naruto shot a senbon into his mouth. It was covered with a paralytic and Naruto beat the shit out of him again. The 2 from Throne snickered as Naomi watched in horror as her chance to get 3 free meals washed away with every fist Naruto put into Sasuke. Naruto only stopped when Kakashi came into the room and again found Sasuke getting beat up. Suffice it to say that they called off the bet. As much fun as it was to beat the living daylight out of him, the only members left who hadn't were above cage level and nobody wanted to get charged with murder. On the 3rd day, Sasuke slowly proceeded down the stairs, cautious of being attacked again. This time he actually made it to the table, where Kakashi is already there, keeping the peace. When he is introduced to the Throne members he then gets stars in his eyes. Flashback 3 days after Throne arrives. "So, when do we start?" he asks. Fu and Gaara share a look and a smirk before turning back to him. "Immediately if you want." Sasuke gets up and is outside before anybody can stop him. Fu follows him outside and everyone gets on the porch to watch on Gaara's insistence of, "You won't want to miss this." About 100 yards away, Fu and Sasuke are talking. "Alright, to judge just what to learn, I want 3 spars. First will be Taijutsu, second will be Ninjutsu and Jinjutsu, and the third will be a weapon spar." "Got it." Sasuke nods and gets into his intercepting fist stance. Fu slides into her own. Faster than anyone but Gaara and the Guardians watching, Fu attacks and hits Sasuke with a chakra-powered punch to his dot. The force behind it is greater than Tsunade at her full strength and in her prime, and Fu is holding back. Not by much but still holding back. Sasuke goes flying. Not just thrown back, but flying through the air like a bird. The group watches in amazement as Sasuke hits the surface of the lake and skips not once, but 6 times before dropping below the water level. Kakashi sighs and disappears in a shunshin, since nobody is going to go get him. Not realizing Kakashi has already gone to get him, Sakura runs to the lake, stripping as she runs yelling, "Sasuke-kun." Not really wanting to see the Banshee, not that there would be much to see, Naruto and Naomi slip inside while Zack and Amy snicker at her and take photos with their cameras that they always have on them. Then flashback. When Sasuke awoke, he tried again, but Fu just yelled at him that there is no way in the 7 circles of hell that they would ever train a stuck-up, power-hungry, more or less brat like him. Sasuke got so mad that he charges Fu. Big mistake. Apparently Fu's head guardian, Karasuba, didn't like that. In a flash of grey, she appears in front of Fu, her long sword drawn and placed up against Sasuke's throat. Next thing Sasuke knows, he is tied to a tree with no chance of escaping. If it had not been for Fu telling her to stand down, Sasuke would be nothing more than a fish fillet sold on the market for dirt cheap. Sasuke didn't speak to Gaara or Fu after that, much to their delight. The next thing to happen was with Kakashi himself. Naruto walked in on him ruffling through his now unsealed clothes. A heated argument ensued, drawing the attention of the other occupants. They opened the door to find Kakashi against the wall being held by his neck with a kunai against his stomach by the brown-haired guardian Gaara had assigned to protect him. Yuzume informed the rest of them that she caught Kakashi trying to assault Naruto. What Kakashi was really doing was trying to search him for anything that he was hiding. Fu and Gaara dragged Kakashi into the woods where they had a long conversation with him. Mostly it was Kakashi saying that he had the right to search his students, while Fu and Gaara tell him that Naruto and Naomi are off limits and if he tried it again, he will get more than a bruised neck. Kakashi gave in eventually, telling them that he will be filing a complaint with Throne later. Next is that Kyuubi and Naruto have been talking a lot. Just friendly chats, getting to know each other better, well Naruto getting to know Kyuubi better since she has viewed his memories. But even still she is drawn to him. As much as she wants to distance herself from him, something is pushing her toward him. Some unknown force or want. Whatever it is, she answers nearly all of his questions, and the only one she doesn't have to do with Throne for security purposes. Whether she wants to or not, they grow closer. Back to the current, as the group walk closer to Konoha, Naruto begins to feel a sense of foreboding. Maybe we should message ahead, tell them that we are almost back. Naomi, knowing her brother more than anyone, picks up on his uneasiness. What's wrong, Oni-chan? Naruto shakes his head. I don't know. I just have this feeling like something is wrong. Kakashi pulls up beside them. You're probably just anxious to get back, that's all. This is the longest you've spent out of the village and are homesick. Naruto and Naomi look at him incredulously. Did he not know how they are treated? Could he really be that blind? No, this was not homesickness, but maybe Kakashi has a point and it's nothing. Naruto lets the topic drop. He starts talking with Naomi about what they are going to do when they get back. Hanahagakure main gates. 2 hours later, the group pulls up in front of the enormous gates that mark the entrance to Konoha. But something is off. The smell of blood runs heavy in the air. As they approach, they see the bodies of 6 people. Gaara and Fu instantly recognize their uniforms as those of an Inquisitor squad. The other 2 are wearing Chunin vests and are easily recognized as the guards at the gates. No one knows how those 2 kept getting gate duty. The moment the bodies are in sight, the guardians surround the group as hundreds of shinobi fall from trees or climb out of holes in the ground. All of them have the same kanji for rude on their Anbu-style masks. Ah, so the infamous Uzumaki children return. Too bad, as this will be the last time you see the light of day, a man in a dark cloak says as he steps out of the shadows. Root, destroy them. The shinobi start to close the distance. Naruto nudges Naomi. Hey, now-chan. Flare Kyuubi's chakra as much as you can. It will attract attention from the Hokage and Kachan if she is here. She nods and the 2 spike their Yaki as much as they can without losing themselves. Chakra cloaks form around them as they channel the Yaki inside them. Hokage office. Kushina is not having a good day. First he gets back from a mission gone wrong and she had nearly been killed. Next she arrives back at the village and finds her children are not yet back, which means something is wrong. A simple escort mission to Wave doesn't take 3 weeks. Finally she gets to the Hokage's office to find Sarutobi wants her to go on another mission before her kids get back. Hokage-sama, I need to be here when my children get back. I don't get to spend a lot of time with them anyways and I promised them. Both snap their head towards the gate as they feel a massive wave of Yaki. There can only be 2 explanations. 1. Another Biju is in Konoha, or 2. Naruto or Naomi are being forced to use it. Both Kushina and Hiruzen take off for the gate, 2 dozen Anbu with them. Village gate. Things were not going too well. 4 guardians, 2 throne, and the 2 Jonin form a protective circle around the genin. The other 4 guardians make an inner ring around the genin and Haku. While there are 8 people in the outer ring cage level or higher, when the enemy numbers in the hundreds and are Jonin in level to begin with, the outer ring is getting pushed back. Meanwhile, the inner ring and the genin plus Haku are backing them up with jutsu after jutsu. Naomi is doing the most since her lighting chakra paralyzes the victim or at least slows them down enough to get killed. Naruto is sending a lot of wind blades and gusts of wind that have a widespread effect. But when you have never-ending waves of enemies, even Jinchuriki can get tired. Zack, Amy, and Sasuke get not only their first kills, but their second and third and fourth hand upwards. They are popping soldier pills like candy to keep from succumbing to chakra exhaustion. Naruto, having Kyuubi inside to provide him with information, starts to resort to Yaki-based attacks as his own chakra starts to run dry. Naomi starts copying him and together, they level the playing field a lot. But superior numbers eventually begin to take their toll. One of Gaara's guardians gets a katana through the stomach, creating a hole. Another gets hit by a lightning jutsu that fries his nerves, knocking him unconscious immediately. The circle is quickly invaded and it degenerates into a massive free-for-all-like brawl. Naruto and Naomi, who are using a chakra cloak to increase their reflexes and make it extremely painful to touch them. Since they are double-teaming the root shinobi as they have no chance to fight one-on-one. One draws close to them from behind when a voice cries out over the battle. Uzumaki. Tsukushi. Uzumaki style. Instant death. The red blur moves through the crowd, starting with the man who was sneaking up on Naruto and Naomi, cutting through everything and anything. In 30 seconds, the 40 or so remaining root jonin are lying dead on the ground. Kushina appears in front of her two children covered in blood and random pieces of body parts. Naruto and Naomi, seeing their mother, drop the chakra cloaks and rush over and hug her from behind, despite being covered with gore. She would have returned it if Danzo, the man in the black cloak, hadn't stepped out in front of the group. Then Sarutobi lands with his Anbu and instantly for a protective circle around the group from Wave, and 4 Anbu surround Danzo. Danzo for committing treason of the highest regard and a multitude of other crimes against Konoha, you are hereby sentenced to death, effective immediately. Danzo laughs. You think you can stop me now? My plan already has been completed. Shiki Fuin. Somehow without using any hand signs, he summons the god of death himself. The clouds darken, blocking out the sun. The wind picks up and a chill covers the area. A few lightning strikes hit the ground and in a flash of light, Shinigami appears. Who dares summon me? He booms out. Immediately Fu, Gaara, and the guardians all get to one knee and bow. Naruto, after a lot of pushing from Kyuubi does the same, dragging Kushina and Naomi with him. I have your soulness. I have made sacrifices and I wish for your services. Shinigami turns his head to look at Danzo. Oh, and what is this service you wish to be granted? Without hesitation he answers. I wish for the Kyuubi no Yoki to be unsealed and then resealed within myself. I have provided the proper payment. Kushina gets up and puts herself between Shinigami and her children. If you want to get to my children, you are going to have to get through me first. She shouts, raising her katana in a defensive stance. Shinigami gives Kushina a glance before resuming his stare at Danzo. You insolent little human. You dare summon me to do your dirty work. You humans grow in arrogance every day. You offer sacrifices, but they are all inferior and a waste of my time. I will not break the agreement made by Minato Namikaze. He turns to Kushina and her children. Yao, you are the wife to one Namikaze Minato, correct? Jaws hit the ground, except those who already knew. Kushina doesn't want to admit it, but lying to a god is not recommended. Still, she grips her katana tighter. Yes, that's correct. You won't get either of my children. If I must fight you then so be it. Her eyes grow very fierce, her maternal need to protect her children coursing through her, granting her the courage and strength to defend her own. Shinigami stares impassively at her. A soft chuckling is heard from the death god. Just like the stories he told me. Defiant and fiery as you are beautiful. You think nothing of your own well-being, only those of your children. Exactly as a mother should be. Do not concern yourself, young one. I will not break the seals on your children. He turns to Gaara and Fu. Ah, Gaara and Fu. Please rise. I have not been summoned for some years since your inception, Gaara. How is Throne doing? They get to their feet. It is going well. We will finally be complete for the first time in 12 years. Shinigami nods in acknowledgement before the death god turns to Naruto and Naomi. You young ones have much potential. Do not waste it. There are a great many things you both are destined for. Danzo however loses his temper. You do as I say. I went to great trouble to offer you not only the lives of slaves, but those of my own organization. You owe me. Shinigami adopts a very serious scowl. Foolish human. All the souls you provided are next to worthless. The value of a soul is determined by its strength and how willing they go to me. Namikaze Minato is one of the strongest souls I have ever encountered and was completely willing to pay his price. Even if you offered 10,000 souls, they wouldn't be enough. But enough of your arrogance and greedy dealings. I would take your soul, but you will be in my grasp soon enough. But that Shinigami starts to dissolve. Namikaze Naruto, we will see each other soon. And with that, Shinigami disappears. The clouds dissipate and the winds die down. The temperature slowly returns to normal. Silence overtakes the group. Only the sound of a slight breeze interrupts the silence. Well, in light of recent events, Danzo is still sentenced to death. Everything you all just heard is an S-rank secret punishable by death, even to the council. Take Danzo away, Sarutobi orders like he didn't just see the Shinigami. Anbu get over their shock and surround Danzo, who is burning with rage. His 6 years of planning gone in an instant. Damn Sarutobi and Throne for getting involved. You may think this is over, but it far from that. I will set Konoha right, you mark my words. But that Danzo is gone in a flash of light and smoke, reverse summoned to his main hideout. Find him. He cannot be allowed to escape. Close down all gates and secure the perimeter. Have all Anbu and Jonin search for him. Make haste. With a collective yes sir. All Anbu take off. Sarutobi sighs and turns to Team 7 and Team 11 and their guests. I am terribly sorry about Danzo. I always have suspected him of treason for some time, but unable to prove it. You will have our full cooperation. Who steps forward? We can discuss that later. Right now, we need to get our wounded to the infirmary. I'll go with them while Gara goes with you to discuss certain matters. Fu blurs out of existence with the downed guardians towards the hospital. Sarutobi nods and leads Gara off while Kushina spins on the spot and hugs her kids tightly, hot tears rolling down her cheeks. I missed you so much. I'm sorry you guys had to go through that. They give her a big smile. It's okay, Ka-chan. We're okay. Oh, and we have a lot to talk about. Kushina nods her head. Come on, let's get you guy cleaned up. They laugh at that. She quirks her head to the side, confused. What's so funny? Naruto comes out of his laughing first. It's just you said for us to get cleaned up, but you're the one covered in blood more than us. Kushina looks down and true to his words, almost every inch of her is covered in root blood. A cough from Kakashi gets their attention. Well, seeing at what just happened, I think that we should take the next week off. Zack and Amy, if you have questions or need to talk to any of us, feel free to. I know that you hadn't killed before now, and that is not the way you should have had to make your first kill. Kushina-sama, I would like sometime this week to talk to you and your children. Kushina nods while Zack and Amy begin to walk off. Before they too far, both are stopped by Naomi. Hey, why don't you guys come over to our place tomorrow? I'm sure Ka-chan won't mind. The twins nod and continue on the way home. Kushina places a hand on her kids' shoulders and she shunsons them to the gate of the Namikaze compound. Hana and Kakashi sigh. I'll take Haku up to the Hokage Tower before they get too engrossed in things we aren't supposed to hear. Kakashi quirks a tired eye at her. Stamina was always his problem. Even after being a Jonin for so long, his reserves were much smaller than those of his fellow Jonin. And why are you offering? I was the shinobi in charge of the mission, so the responsibilities rest with me. Because you look like you're going to fall over any second. That gash on your forearm isn't helping much. Kakashi nods. The throne members were not surprisingly untouched. The only things were a few cuts and scratches on most guardians and a lucky shot on Kakashi. The genin were completely fine as there were too few root members left to go after them effectively. Namikaze estate. After a long, hot, and very relaxing bath, both twins reach the living room, only to be wrapped up by Kushina once again. They all hang on to each other with all the strength they can muster, well, not Kushina, as she would crush them. Once they break away, they eat dinner. It was a very quiet dinner, neither the twins nor Kushina knowing how to break the silence. Once the dishes were put in the sink and the leftovers put into the refrigerator, the small family turns to the living room and spend while just in each other's company. Eventually Naruto sighs. They have to talk. Ka-chan, well, we were in Wave, a lot of things happened. Please let us tell the whole story before doing anything about it. Kushina narrows her eyes. Just what happened on this mission? And what could be so bad that they make her promise not to do anything? She gives a very tentative okay with an added no promises. The twins seem satisfied with that. So they tell their tale. Kushina goes from I'm going to kill the Uchiha to well, I'm glad Kyuubi isn't a viscous monster hell-bent on the destruction of the village. When he gets to the part about Sarutobi not telling Throne about Kyuubi, she loses it. Ka-chan, calm down. Both twins shout. Kushina gets up off the couch and starts to storm to the front door. Naruto, not wanting a bloodbath again, jumps after her. Clearly not thinking, he tackles her into a chair. Naruto and Kushina both blink as their brains restart. Kushina is bent over a chair, her ass in the air. Naruto is directly on top of her, spooning her along with his hands wrapped around her front. Naruto feels something very squishy and soft in his right hand and gives a soft squeeze before recognizing just what he had grabbed. He is off her and on the other side of the room, cowering in fear, and less than a second later. He didn't hear the very soft moan she gave when he squeezed her large dot. Naomi, who saw the tackle, is speechless. After Naruto teleported across the room, she doesn't blame him for being scared for his life, goes to Kushina, who is still lying over the chair. Ka-chan, are you okay? She shakily gets off the chair, her mind still clouded. Ooh-hee. She isn't sure what had just transpired. Naomi starts to worry. Never before has she heard her mother stutter. Ka-chan. Naomi yells. This brings Kushina out of her cloudy state. She sits in the chair she just got off of and presses her hands into her eyes. Ooh-hee. Sarutobi is going to have a lot of explaining to do tomorrow. Naruto, where are the swords you told me about? Naruto tentatively comes closer, not sure if this is a trap or not. She did this kind of thing before once. I sealed it in a scroll. Kyuubi told me that they were too dangerous to let just anyone try them. There is also a deed to Kyuubi's private island that holds her records and a boat that we can use to get there. Kushina nods. Despite it being about 2 p.m., she is wiped out, both physically and emotionally. She starts to doze when she feels both her children crawl into her lap. She smiles and wraps them up in a hug, and they fall asleep like that. Thanks for watching this video. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe, and comment down below, and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support and follow the TOMHUNT98 for writing that awesome fanfic, and also make sure to comment on this story, link in the description. See you in the next video. Goodbye.